Chapter 642. Sky Ice, what are you doing? Sensing the terrifying aura and killing intent, Elder Su Bing was taken aback. Not only him, but even the Imperial Ice Elder and Ice Shield Elder were taken aback as they stared blankly at the furious Sky Ice. This brat, is the one who killed my grandson. General Sky Ice's eyes were filled with malice as he clenched his teeth and glared at Ning Tian. What? It's him? This brat isn't afraid of death and still dares to participate in the Ice Palace competition. Does he think that he will be protected by Lord Ice God after joining the Ice God Palace? Lord Ice God has always been impartial. How could she hurt Senior Sky Ice's heart for a brat? General Heavenly Ice has been following Lord Ice God since hundreds of thousands of years ago. Discussions broke out all around. Many people's gazes landed on the Ice God. They wanted to know what she would choose. Husband, on the side. The two girls were already circulating their spirit chi. If General Sky Ice dared to attack Ning Tian, they were prepared to fight alongside Ning Tian. This brat killed Sky Ice's grandson? Hearing General Sky Ice's words, Elder Su Bing and the other two were all shocked. No one would have thought that the person who killed General Sky Ice's grandson would have the guts to appear here. Lord Ice God, please help us. General Sky Ice bowed to Ling Wei as a glimmer flashed across his eyes. I have followed Ice God for hundreds of thousands of years. Is Lord Ice God not even willing to help me? Hearing this, more people looked over. The Ice God who ruled half of the southern ice star ocean didn't just convince people with her strength. She also convinced people with her actions. Just like a king, whoever wins the hearts of the people controls the world. If the Ice God wanted to protect a brat who just joined the Ice God Palace, it would hurt the hearts of these old officials who had followed her for hundreds of thousands of years. On the side, Elder Su Bing and the other two also looked at the Ice God nervously. After hundreds of thousands of years, people's hearts would change. Would the Ice God still care about the merits of these old officials? General Sky Ice can do it. Under everyone's gaze, the Ice God said coldly. Whoosh! Hearing this, Elder Su Bing and the other two heaved a sigh of relief. Their worries completely disappeared. Lord Ice God was still the same Lord Ice God. Die, brat. With the Ice God's permission, General Heavenly Ice's murderous aura immediately turned berserk. He stared coldly at Ning Tian as a cold light appeared on his ice armor. An ice spear appeared in his hand. Husband. Seeing General Heavenly Ice attack Ning Tian, the spiritual chi of the two women surged wildly. However, before they could do anything, Ning Tian gently chuckled at them and slowly said, Wifey, you don't have to do anything. I have my ways. Husband? The two women were stunned. Be good, this guy can't hurt me. Ning Tian chuckled at the two women. Seeing this, the two girls nodded obediently. Seeing how obedient the two women were, Ning Tian's lips curled into a faint smile. His gaze landed on the General of Heavenly Ice as he mumbled, The fish has taken the bait. I hope Ling's judgment is correct. Brat, you're courting death. General Heavenly Ice roared and attacked Ning Tian with an ice spike. Seeing this scene, the surrounding cultivators were so frightened that they quickly fled. What a joke. This was an attack from a Supreme Ancient God. Use Supreme Ancient God trial card. Ning Tian looked at the ice spike calmly as he muttered to himself. Ling really trusted him. If he didn't have the Supreme Ancient God trial card, he would be in deep trouble. Supreme Ancient God trial card, successful use. In his mind, the system's voice rang out. Boom. In an instant. At this moment, Ning Tian's aura rose rapidly. A cold light appeared in his hand, and the surrounding air cooled down. He looked at the icicle calmly and raised his hand slightly. With a cracking sound, the icicle turned into powder. A 5-star Supreme Ancient God who has only gone through 5 Ancient God Thunderbolts? Your ice spike isn't good enough. Ning Tian looked at General Heavenly Ice calmly. After Ancient God, there were 3 realms, Supreme, Chaotic, and Juggernaut. Although each realm was divided by star level, it was similar to great emperors who went through tribulations to increase their strength. However, the tribulations that ancient gods went through were the more terrifying ancient god thunderbolts. If one wasn't careful, even an ancient god would be turned into ashes by the ancient god thunderbolts. I'll let you see what a real ice spike is. Ning Tian's lips curled up slightly. An ice spike that was 100 meters long appeared in his hand. His trial card was also a 5-star supreme ancient god. Although they were in the same realm, he wasn't invincible in the same realm for nothing. Boom, boom. This brat is also a supreme ancient god? Seeing this, General Heavenly Ice's lips twitched and a trace of seriousness flashed in his eyes. Next, an intense battle began. Boom. Ning Tian directly used the Law of Ice and pressed on General Heavenly Ice, making it difficult for him to breathe. According to what Little Ling said, if this Heavenly Ice General interacts with the people from the ancient god's Cloud Atlas, it will unleash their power. What I need to do is to force that power out. Ning Tian's eyes flashed and the ice in his hand continued to grow. Boom, boom, boom. Many cultivators in the ice square saw this shocking battle and their eyes were filled with fear. Oh my god! Brother Ning has the strength of an ancient god. Fathead Carp was dumbfounded. Heavenly Ice isn't a match for this brat? Seeing this, Elder Su Bing and the other two looked grave. Their gazes fell on Ning Tian and their eyes were filled with seriousness. They knew General Heavenly Ice's strength. However, he was being suppressed by this brat? Lord Ice God didn't say a word from the beginning to the end. He looked at the battle calmly. They didn't know if they should help General Heavenly Ice, so they simply watched quietly from the side. Boom. Right then, after General Heavenly Ice was hit by Ning Tian's cold god technique, he instantly spat out a mouthful of blood and flew backward. Old thing, it seems that you're not as powerful as I thought. The corners of Ning Tian's mouth lifted slightly as she looked at General Sky Ice in a mocking manner. At the same time, when she saw that General Sky Ice was in a weakened state, Ning Tian seized the opportunity to activate the Memory Advance card of Fish. Check. Heavenly Ice's 7-second memory. I'd like to see what this old thing is up to. Fish Advanced Memory Card. Successful use. Obtained Heavenly Ice's 7-second memory. In his mind, the 7-second memory fragments kept flashing. In an instant, Ning Tian was enraged. He looked up and there was a crazy flash of murderous intent in his eyes. Damn, old thing, how dare you harm my disciple? Chapter 643. Boom. In an instant, Ning Tian's aura kept expanding. A black aura appeared behind him. At the same time, a blood-red aura spread out from his body. He looked extremely terrifying. Spiritual aura, demonic aura, and demonic aura. This young man has mastered the aura of the 3 races. Seeing this, Elder Su Bing's eyes turned solemn. The black aura behind the young man and the blood-red aura around his body were definitely demonic aura and demonic aura. Even the demonic and demonic auras were inferior to such auras. Lord Ice God, shall we take action? Elder Su Bing asked from the side. Ling was taken aback for a moment before she shook her head. The corners of her mouth curled into a smile. She seemed to have heard her master's domineering words. Old thing, how dare you harm my disciple? You're courting death. Ning Tian's aura surged. He waved his hand and countless ice blades turned into sharp blades. They attacked General Sky Ice who was panting. Boom, boom. The ice blades seemed to be able to pierce through the air. The temperature of the surroundings suddenly dropped. What's going on? He seems to have gone berserk. Harm his disciple? Who is his disciple? Around them, seeing Ning Tian's aura surging again, many cultivators were stunned. Their bodies began to freeze. Besides fear, there was also deep confusion in their eyes. Disciple? Who is his disciple? Husband? Could it be? Seeing Ning Tian's behavior, the 2 ladies narrowed their eyes. Confusion flashed across their eyes. Luo Wuqing inadvertently looked at Ling who was on the ice throne. He seemed to have understood something. What is this kid talking about? General Sky Ice's body was constantly pierced by the ice spikes that appeared around Ning Tian. However, the wounds were quickly healed. This old man's healing ability was extraordinary. However, at this moment, he was not happy at all. He had wanted to avenge his grandson. However, in the end, even he was no match for this kid. This brat's strength is so strong. But unless it's absolutely necessary, I can't use that power. General Heavenly Ice gritted his teeth and killing intent glinted across his eyes. Next, the ice armor he wore radiated an extreme chilliness, and the chilliness in his hand transformed into a tangible ice spear. It would appear that he wanted to fight Ning Tian again. Courting death. When Ning Tian thought about the 7-second memory he had obtained from General Heavenly Ice, he could not suppress the anger in his heart. Burning the bridge after crossing the river is nothing more than this. Ning Tian snorted coldly. A cold light flickered in his hand. Demonic Chi and Demonic Chi were activated at the same time. What does this brat know? Hearing this, General Heavenly Ice panicked, but he quickly calmed down. He gritted his teeth and muttered to himself, "It seems like this brat knows something. I must kill him. Otherwise, there will be no end of trouble in the future." Boom. Frost. Ning Tian raised his hand, and the sky changed color. Frost covered the ground as it smashed towards General Heavenly Ice. Seeing this, General Heavenly Ice's expression changed slightly. The ice spear in his hand shook, and in an instant, there were tens of thousands of spears that pierced towards Ning Tian. It seemed that he was staking everything on this one throw. He wanted to attack Ning Tian, even if he had to resist the frost. Courting death. Seeing this, Ning Tian's eyes flashed coldly. The moment those ice spears pierced towards him, he raised his hand calmly. At this moment, there was a fluctuation in the space, and the tens of thousands of ice spears disappeared in an instant. They disappeared? Seeing this scene, the surrounding cultivators were stunned. No, it's the law of space. There was a glint in the eyes of the Ice Shield Elder. Oh no, I forgot that this brat has mastered the law of space. He can change the space at will and change the direction of my attack. General Heavenly Ice also reacted at this moment. Zung, zung. At this moment, there were sounds of air being torn apart behind him. Those were his tens of thousands of ice spears. I'm sorry, I'll make the decision. You can have both the frost and the ice spears. Ning Tian snorted coldly and waved his hand. The extremely cold frost and tens of thousands of ice spears appeared in the sky and pierced towards General Heavenly Ice. Boom. Damn it. General Heavenly Ice narrowed his eyes and wanted to dodge the attack. However, at this moment, he saw Ning Tian raise his hand again. There was a golden glow in his hand, and he heard a ticking sound. It's over. The law of time. His pupils constricted. However, at this moment, he could no longer move his body. Boom, boom. In the blink of an eye, frost fell on his body and tens of thousands of ice spears pierced through his body. In an instant, blue blood flowed out of General Heavenly Ice's body. Heavenly Ice. Seeing this, Elder Su Bing and the other two turned pale. They wanted to attack, but at this moment, frost fell in front of them. Lord Ice God. Elder Su Bing and the other two were stunned. Wow. The law of time stopped. General Heavenly Ice spat out a mouthful of blood. He was in a sorry state. His eyes were filled with murderous intent as he stared at Ning Tian. His eyes were filled with resentment. Do you think you have the right to be resentful? Ning Tian said indifferently. A wisp of black gas appeared in his hand again. That was death. Snap. He snapped his fingers. The black gas flowed out. General Heavenly Ice screamed. One of his hands was engulfed by the black gas. It lost all vitality and emitted an aura of death. You mastered the law of death? General Heavenly Ice looked at his lifeless hand. He raised his other hand and chopped off his corroded hand. If he did not chop it off, the aura of death would spread throughout his body. What a pity. I can't kill you with the law of death for the time being. Ning Tian sighed softly. The law of space, the law of death, the law of ice, and the law of time. This brat mastered 4 of them at once. Moreover, he might have other laws that he hasn't used yet. This brat. Who exactly is he? Elder Su Bing gasped. You have shocked the 4 Ice Division. You have shocked the surrounding cultivators. Reward, memory card. You can project your memories. At this moment, the system's voice sounded in Ning Tian's mind. You forced me to do this. Today, I want you to die. At this very moment, not far away, General Heavenly Ice's eyes flashed with madness. He could not wait any longer. If he did not use that power, he might die here today. Roar! General Heavenly Ice roared. His eyes turned red instantly. He who looked old turned into a man in his prime at this moment. Wisps of purplish-black aura flowed out of his body continuously. His aura skyrocketed at this moment. Brat, die. Chapter 644. What's going on? Tianbing, this energy, where did it come from? What kind of energy is this? I've never seen it before. Elder Su Bing and the others were stunned when they saw the change in General Tianbing's body. A solemn look flashed across their eyes. At this moment, the energy that General Tianbing was emitting had already shocked them. However, the strange thing was they had never seen this energy before. He finally took the bait. The corners of Ning Tian's mouth lifted slightly when he saw the change in General Tianbing's body. A glint flashed across his eyes. He had once sensed this energy from the fake divine realm expert in the Myriad Spirits demon lair. However, the fake divine realm expert's energy was almost negligible. It was not as strong as the energy that General Tianbing was emitting. Kid, die. At this moment, General Tianbing's energy had completely surpassed Ning Tian's. It had even reached the level of a chaotic ancient god. His eyes were filled with madness and bloodshot. He threw a palm at Ning Tian. Husband. When they saw this, the two women could clearly sense the threat to Ning Tian. Anxiety flashed across Luo Wuqing's beautiful eyes. Then, her fine black hair began to gradually change and turned blue in the blink of an eye. Her energy was also increasing at this moment. Su Yueyao's purple hair moved slightly. Her fox demon energy was also increasing. Their energy, it was even close to the level of a supreme ancient god. Moreover, it was still increasing. This is? Ning Tian was stunned when he saw this. Then, a glint flashed across his eyes. It seemed that the two ladies had also had a fortuitous encounter in the past 2 years. Honey, back off. You don't have to do anything. However, there was no need for the two ladies to do anything. The two ladies hesitated for a moment. Then, their energy dissipated. Luo Wuqing's hair that had turned blue also returned to its original color. The fox demon energy in Su Yueyao's body also stopped. Kid die. General Tianbing's palm landed heavily. His eyes were filled with ferocity and pride. Under this kind of energy, this kid will definitely die. Boom, boom. A palm fell. The surrounding square of the ice god city seemed to have cracked, scaring the nearby cultivators into retreating. At the side, Fat Head Carp and Ceiling Flame Lion King hugged each other, trembling. Rumble, a cold light dissipated. Brat, are you dead now? General Heavenly Ice let out a cold harumph and looked towards the ice fog. But soon, his pupils shrank. What? And at this moment, Elder Su Bing and the other two, as well as all the cultivators in the Divine Ice City, saw a small, beautiful figure land in front of Ning Tian in the dissipating icy mist. She was looking at General Heavenly Ice with an indifferent expression. What? Lord Ice God, help that brat? At this moment, everyone was confused. Behind Ning Tian's lips curled up slightly. Everything was part of the plan. A few days ago, Ning Tian was dragged into an alley. In the Great Ice Hall. Who are you? Ning Tian frowned and looked at the Great Ice Hall. A beautiful figure was sitting in the hall. Following his words, the Great Ice Hall was silent for a long time. After a while, a suppressed sobbing voice sounded in Ning Tian's ears. Master, long time no see. Ling? Hearing this voice, Ning Tian's eyes flashed with excitement. Ling, I finally get to see you. Master, I missed you so much. I finally get to see you after 1,000,000 years. In the Great Ice Hall, Ling's voice sounded faintly. Missed me? Then why don't you let me hug you? The smile on Ning Tian's face never stopped. Ling hesitated. Why? Don't you miss me? A smile appeared on Ning Tian's face. No, no. Hearing this, Ling panicked and cried, "It's not that I don't miss you, Master. I'm just an ice clone now. I can't meet you." An ice clone? Huh? Ning Tian rubbed his chin. It seemed like he still needed some time before he could meet his precious disciple. "Master, I have a request." Ling's voice sounded in the great ice hall again. "What request?" Ning Tian raised his brows slightly. "I want you to put on a good show for me and help me enrage General Sky Ice," Ling said slowly. General Sky Ice? Ning Tian looked over in confusion. "I've already checked. Young Master Sky Ice flirted with Master's wife and was killed by you. General Sky Ice is very protective of his children. If he sees you, he will definitely attack you. I hope you can participate in the Great Ice Competition and enrage General Sky Ice in front of everyone." Ling said again, "I've secretly found out that the Heavenly Ice General is colluding with the Cloud Atlas of Heaven and Earth. They want to attack the seal of the land of endless frost. I've already obtained most of the evidence, but even so, I can't act against him so easily. He's the most talented person in the Ice God Palace. If I attack him easily, some people will be disappointed. Only when he reveals himself in front of everyone will I have a reason to punish him." "Oh, I see." Hearing this, Ning Tian's eyes flashed. Whoever wins the hearts of the people wins the world. This had been the principle since ancient times. The Heavenly Ice General was one of the founders of the Celestial Palace. If Spirit were to casually attack him, it would inevitably hurt the feelings of others. It would also make others think that she was burning the bridge after crossing the river. Only by exposing the Heavenly Ice General in public would Spirit be able to attack him without holding back. Killing a loyal subject would cause dissatisfaction, but killing a traitor would only make people clap their hands in joy. Ling now understood that she was no longer alone. She had the entire Ice God Palace behind her, half of the people of the Southern Frost Star Ocean. "Ling, you've grown a lot." Ning Tian smiled. "Since that's the case, I'll help you become a tool. When the time comes, I'll take a good look at you." Okay. At this moment, on the Ice God City Square, everyone looked at Ling, who was standing in front of Ning Tian, in shock. "Ice God, you're attacking for him?" Everyone was in disbelief. "Lord Ice God, are you going to?" General Heavenly Ice's heart thumped wildly. He wanted to say something, but before he could finish, Spirit interrupted him. "Heavenly Ice, aren't you going to explain your power?" "Lord Ice God, this, General Sky Ice swallowed his saliva. His eyes were filled with panic. "It seems that you can't explain it. How about this? I'll explain it for you." Ling looked at Sky Ice indifferently. "This is the power of darkness. It's the power of the ancient God Cloud map. You secretly colluded with them and used the lives of the people of the Southern Frost Star Ocean in exchange for this power. You want them to attack the seal of the endless Frost Star Ocean. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, I said that whoever dares to attack the seal will die. Even if it's you, I won't show mercy." This, Sky Ice broke out in cold sweat. "What?" No wonder cultivators kept disappearing under the rule of the Ice God Palace. "I thought it was the people from the Undying Sea, but I didn't expect it was you, Sky Ice." Elder Su Bing seemed to have thought of something, and his expression changed drastically. "You betrayed the Ice God Palace? You joined the ancient God Cloud map? Sky Ice, you're stupid. The ancient God Cloud map covets the power of the seal. That seal is what Lord Ice God wants to protect the most. How dare you?" Elder Su Bing and Elder Su Bing were in disbelief. They looked at their old friend's betrayal with pain. It's far more than that." At this moment, Ning Tian sneered. "Let me show you what this old thing has done." Then, he waved his hand. An image appeared in the sky. Everyone looked toward the image. The person in the image, it was General Sky Ice. Several images flashed. The group of people's eyes were filled with flames of anger. "Sky Ice, you're courting death. Lord Ice God treated you well. You even betrayed Lord Ice God. I didn't expect the ancient God Cloud map's attack last time was actually you ordered it. Do you know that Lord Ice God almost lost his life to protect us last time? But I didn't expect. It's actually you, my old friend. Elder Su Bing was in tears. His eyes were filled with disappointment. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, the ancient god Cloud Map attacked and wanted to destroy the seal. However, they didn't even know anything about it. They were caught off guard. Even Lord Ice God was seriously injured. At that time, he found it strange that Lord Ice God's weakness was known to others. But he didn't expect. The traitor was close by. What do you know? So what if it's Ice God? I want power. Ice God won't give me power. But I need power. With power, I have everything. Seeing that everything was known, Sky Ice was hysterical. His eyes filled with killing intent landed on Ning Tian. This brat killed his grandson and exposed everything about him. If it wasn't for this brat, things wouldn't have developed to this extent. Brat you, who are you? Sky Ice glared at him angrily. Me? Ning Tian chuckled. I am Ning Tian, the husband of the fire domain, the ruler of the demon domain, the successor of the heavenly palace, and master of Ice God. 5 chapters completed, a total of nearly 11,000 words, so this chapter is slightly longer than the others. You should understand now, right? Recently, I've seen many readers complaining that this chapter is a little dragging. Then, let's start to fast-paced and not drag it out. I estimate that there are more than 10 chapters left before the main storyline comes to an end. Of course, fast-paced doesn't mean that the ending will be messy. Chapter 645. That hearty voice that carried a trace of a smile casually sounded in the ears of everyone in the Divine Ice City. However, it caused their hearts to explode violently and set off stormy waves. The husband of the fire domain, the ruler of the monster domain, and even the successor of the heavenly palace? These 3 identities were enough to make them fearful. They didn't even dare to think about attacking him. Even the Ice God Palace didn't dare to offend 3 forces at once. And it was the heavenly palace, the current strongest force in the god domain. Although there were only 9 of them, each of them was at the ancient god sovereign level. The god domain would probably tremble if they took a breath. I didn't expect. He's from the heavenly palace. That means he has the heavenly god constitution. The 10th heavenly god constitution has been completed. Elder Su Bing gasped. Her eyes were filled with deep shock. At this moment, countless cultivators in Divine Ice City were shocked speechless by Ning Tian's background. They were so scared that their faces turned pale, their pupils constricted, and their faces were filled with shock. Did you forget something important? He seemed to have said that he is Lord Ice God's master. The Ice Shield Elder reminded him in a low voice. As soon as he said that, there was a deathly silence all around. After a while, what? He's the master of the Ice God? A voice filled with shock rang out at this moment. Even the surrounding glaciers were shattered by this earth-shattering sound. Everyone's gazes landed on Ning Tian, their eyes filled with disbelief. They didn't even have time to react. They were already so shocked by Ning Tian's first 3 identities that they didn't even have the brains to think about the last sentence. Now that the shield-bearer elder had reminded them, they finally realized the most shocking thing. He, the master of the Ice God? At this moment, everyone's mind went blank. Even Tian Bing was dumbfounded. My husband is the master of the Ice God? On the side, Luo Wuqing's red lips parted slightly. Her beautiful eyes flashed with shock. She froze for a moment, and then her eyes fell on Ning Tian and Ling. What has my husband experienced in the past 2 years? Sui Weiyao covered her mouth and showed a trace of surprise. Her fox tail swayed in surprise and curiosity. The intuition of the 2 women told them that their husband had experienced a lot in the past 2 years. You shocked the 4 Ice sect. You shocked the Ice God City cultivators. You shocked the Ice God Palace cultivators. You shocked Luo Wuqing. You shocked Sui Weiyao. At this moment, the system's voice kept ringing in Ning Tian's mind. Reward. The tree of the unknown trees of the tree's roots. Huh? Is there finally some movement from the unknown tree? Of the system, Ning Tian frowned and muttered to herself. She asked the system, The unknown tree absorbs energy. What kind of energy does it absorb? Of the god. The system of the Tion, of the sex, of the realm, sect of the heart, of the s heart. Then, only then did he look at all the cultivators in the ice god city. The corners of his mouth curled up into a kind smile as he slowly said, however, compared to these identities, I prefer you to call me Patriarch of the Tianma cult. Tianma cult? Patriarch? Of course. All the cultivators were stunned for a long time. Ling, what are you going to do with this guy? Ning Tian looked at the general of the Heavenly Ice Sect and asked, Master, are you going to punish him? Ling tilted her head and asked, No, this is your Ice God Palace's business. I won't ask too much. Ning Tian shook his head. Although Ling was his disciple, the general of the Heavenly Ice Sect was still a member of the Ice God Palace. It was better to let her, the Ice God Palace's business. Well, since Master said so, Ling nodded slightly. Hiss, seeing this scene. The eyes of the three elders and many cultivators of the Ice God Palace almost fell out. Damn, is this still the Lord Ice God? Although the Lord Ice God looked cold and heartless, she was like a little girl in front of this young man. As expected of the Lord Ice God's master, his shrewdness isn't something we can guess. But why is this master's strength far weaker than the Lord Ice God's? Elder Su Bing frowned with confusion in her eyes. If Ning Tian was stronger than the Lord Ice God, the Lord Ice God wouldn't have to do anything. Why was that? Could it be, was it popular for the disciple to protect the master now? You want to punish me? Don't even think about it. The general of the Heavenly Ice Sect finally reacted. His red eyes fell on Ning Tian and Ling as he gritted his teeth. I understand now. This was all a trap set by you. You hid your identities on purpose. You want this old man to be exposed so that you can legitimately make a move on me. Haha, looks like you're not stupid after all. But so what if you've thought it through now? Ning Tian used the laws of ice to transform into an ice chair and sat down on it. She then leisurely crossed her legs and pulled out an apple. She took a bite out of it. If you don't like it, then come and hit me. You brat, you. Hearing that, the general of the Heavenly Ice Sect was enraged, but Ling slapped him back. Pfft. The general of the Heavenly Ice Sect spat out a mouthful of blood. Sigh, I'm already sitting down. You can't even hit me. Are you blaming me? Ning Tian shrugged. The cultivators on the side heard that and their mouths twitched. They didn't know why they wanted to hit this young man as well, but when they remembered that the Lord Ice God was his disciple, they all coughed. Brat, you're asking for death? The ancient god Cloud, Atlas Heaven, and Earth Collection won't let you go. The general of the Heavenly Ice Sect gritted his teeth and glared at Ning Tian. Don't worry. I can't wait for them to come and give me experience. Ning Tian didn't seem to care. He shrugged, indicating that he was welcome to come again. You're shameless. You're too arrogant. The general of the Heavenly Ice Sect cursed. Thanks for the compliment, Ning Tian said with a smile. I. The general of the Heavenly Ice Sect didn't expect that someone would smile and take the curses of others as a compliment. In an instant, his face turned green and red. He was so angry that smoke came out of his head. He was about to spit out a mouthful of blood. However, right at this moment, Ning Tian waved his hand, and the apple in his hand disappeared instantly. It appeared in the general of the Heavenly Ice Sect's mouth and blocked the blood that he was about to spit out. Then, he sighed. Sigh. Although it's a pity for my apple, your blood is too dirty. Don't dirty my disciple's floor. The general of the Heavenly Ice Sect widened his eyes and stared at Ning Tian with blood in his mouth. He was so angry that he blacked out and fainted. Was there any King justice? Was there anything worse than making someone spit out blood? The ancestral master told you that there was. He couldn't even spit out this mouthful of blood. Chapter 646. Hiss. Seeing General Heavenly Ice faint from anger, the surrounding cultivators were silent for a few seconds before they sucked in a breath of cold air. This group of cultivators didn't expect Lord Ice God's master to have such an ability. What the hell? Grandpa, you. Grandpa, you didn't expect fellow Taoist Ning to have such an identity. Not far away, Fat Head Fish hugged the ceiling flame Lion King in his arms and trembled. He didn't expect Ning Tian to have such a powerful background. Damn it, a powerful background. Roar. Hearing Fat Head Fish's words, the ceiling flame Lion King snorted arrogantly. What does a mere fish brat know? This is just a little trick of the ancestor. Lord Lion knows more. No, damn it, little fish brat. You dare to take the opportunity to hug Lord Lion. Lord Lion will bite you to death. Not far away, a fish's scream sounded, but no one paid attention to it. Imperial Ice, put Heavenly Ice into the ice prison. Shield Ice, go control the Heavenly Ice family. Don't let anyone go. If anyone resists, just kill them. Ling glanced at the unconscious Heavenly Ice and said to Imperial Ice, "Yes, Lord Ice God." Imperial Ice Elder nodded. At this moment, even if they were old friends with Heavenly Ice for hundreds of thousands of years, they wouldn't ask for any mercy. Heavenly Ice had long had the intention to rebel and even almost killed Ice God. This was enough to make their hearts of stone. The internal strife of the Ice God Palace came to an end. Girl, you've grown up a lot. Behind her, Ning Tian's voice sounded with a smile. Ling trembled and turned around, looking at Ning Tian, who was looking at her with a gentle smile. Everything that happened 1,000,000 years ago was still vivid in her mind. It was as if everything had returned to 1,000,000 years ago when Ning Tian saved her. That rescue created Ling, and also created the Ice God who unified half of the southern Ice Star Ocean. Girl, come here. Ning Tian stood up, and the ice chair behind him slowly dissipated. He hooked his finger at Ling Master. Ling was stunned. In an instant, 1,000,000 years of memories poured into her heart, breaking through the cold veil of the Ice God. Her beautiful eyes gradually turned misty, and she directly bumped into Ning Tian's arms. No matter how cold the Ice God was, it couldn't withstand 1,000,000 years of memories. Good fellow, you little girl, are you trying to kill your master? Ning Tian laughed bitterly as he looked at Ling, who was lying in his arms. He didn't know where to put his hands. After some thought, he placed his large hands on Ling's head and stroked it as if he was petting a kitten. This should be Master's head kill kill? Damn! Lord Pain. Ouch. What are you doing? One cultivator gasped, but before he could finish, the cultivator next to him glared at him. Are you? If you don't pretend to be blind, do you want to die? Master's Lord look, God's God King, Tion of, Tice S. The cultivator covered his eyes and looked around. A group of Ice God Palace cultivators decisively closed their eyes and pretended to be blind, so he also decisively joined the pretending team. However, when all the cultivators were temporarily blind, 2 women curled their lips and watched. The jealousy of the Luo clan and the Su clan was completely overturned. However, the 2 women were jealous, but they weren't unreasonable women. They just watched quietly and didn't say anything. And in the sky, Ling hugged Ning Tian tightly and muttered to herself, "Master, I've been waiting for you for 1,000,000 years." "Yes, I know. Master, I've done what I promised you." "Yes, I know. Master, I've done what I wanted to do." "Yes, I know. Master, I miss you so much." "Yes, I know." Around, everything was silent. Everyone's gazes landed in front of them. The stubborn young girl sobbed as she told everything to the person she had missed for 1,000,000 years. Ning Tian patted her head from start to finish and gently agreed to everything. Dozens of minutes later. "Okay, little girl, don't cry. You're the Ice God. Be careful of those guys peeking. They'll make you lose face." Ning Tian scratched Ling's nose and said with a smile. Hearing this, the surrounding cultivators who had covered their eyes with their hands and peeked through a gap suddenly trembled. Then, they coughed dryly. Elder Su Bing and the other 2 took the lead. "Cough. This old man was just blind and deaf. Ahaha, what a coincidence. I'm also deaf." Everyone in the surroundings became blind and deaf at this moment. "I'm not little, at least. I'm older than Master," Ling said softly. Hearing this, Ning Tian was stunned for a moment. A glint flashed across his eyes. It seemed that Ling had understood something. However, he didn't say anything. He chuckled and teased, "Look, you still look like a girl. You're not little, are you?" I I only used my divine power to seal myself. I just wanted Master to recognize me at first glance." Ling nervously grabbed the ice blade and said softly. At this moment, the ice god in the eyes of everyone in the southern frost star ocean was just a little girl in front of Ning Tian, just like a million years ago. Hearing this, Ning Tian was stunned for a moment. Then, a smile appeared on his face. He patted the girl's head again and said softly, "Yes, I know." At this moment, two beautiful figures quietly appeared in front of him. Looking at the two women, Ning Tian suddenly felt like he had been caught in bed. However, he really didn't do anything to Ling. He coughed and touched his nose. "Wife, this is husband. You're not hurt, are you?" However, before Ning Tian could speak, Luo Wuqing's worried eyes fell on Ning Tian. She didn't take the initiative to ask about this topic. She didn't want Ning Tian to be embarrassed. "Hee, Wuqing, look at your husband. He should be fine." Sui Weiyao also chuckled at the side. To the two women, Ning Tian's safety was more important. "Wife, I'm fine." Ning Tian coughed and looked at Ling. He said softly, "Ling, you should know who they are, right?" "Yes." Ling nodded slightly. With her ability to rule half of the southern frost star ocean, it was easy for her to obtain some information. Next, she looked up at the two breathtakingly beautiful women and said softly, "Ling greets the two masters." "No need." However, before Ling could call them master's wife, Luo Wuqing shook her head and looked at Ling with a smile. "You don't have to call us master's wife. If you don't mind, just call us elder sister." Chapter 647. Luo Wuqing naturally knew how long Ling had lived, but she also knew Ling's thoughts. This girl's thoughts, perhaps only the guy on the field didn't know. So for what might happen in the future, it was better to let Ling call her sister than master's wife. As for whether it would work or not, it depended on what a certain guy was thinking. Ling froze for a moment, looking at the two women who chuckled at her. She seemed to understand something. A glimmer of light flashed in her eyes, and then she raised a smile. "Ling greets the two sisters." This call of sister. It was much easier to say than master's wife. "Hee, Ling is so cute. I want to hug her." On the side, Sui Weiyao giggled, and then she hugged her. Seeing this scene, Ning Tian was a bit confused. This is not right. Why did the three women get along so well so quickly? Why did it feel like the three of them had reached a consensus? "Wife, what are you doing?" Ning Tian looked at Luo Wuqing. However, Luo Wuqing didn't say anything, just gave him "it's okay, I'm here" gesture. This made Ning Tian even more puzzled. Just what was going on? "Master, you and the two sisters go back to the Ice God Palace first. When I'm done with the next thing, I'll go find you." Ling looked at the three and said, she did have something to deal with now. "Okay." Ning Tian nodded slightly. The next thing, he would let Ling deal with it herself. Then, with a move, he headed downwards. Everyone was looking at him with reverence in their eyes. "Sha Tian, stop biting." Ning Tian glanced at the Lion King who was biting Fat Head Fish's arm and said faintly, "Roar." Hearing this, the Lion King let go of Fat Head Fish, but it was still cursing. "Roar." Meow. The Lion King's mouth was full of the smell of fish. So unlucky. "Fat Head Fish, now do you believe that I can get the Ice God signature? You should still remember what I said just now, right?" Ning Tian looked at Fat Head Fish with a smile. He just wanted Fat Head Fish to change its way of moving. What was wrong with that? "Ning Dao. Oh no, Ancestral Master, Grandpa you believes you now. But what did I say just now?" Fat Head Fish scratched its head. However, before Ning Tian could speak, Fat Head Fish seemed to have remembered something. "Ahem, that Ancestral Master, Grandpa Fish just remembered that there are still a few salted fish at home that haven't turned over yet. Grandpa Fish will take his leave and help them turn over." After that, he was about to leave with his tail between his legs when he made a magnificent turn and started walking backwards. He looked like he was very familiar with this. Looks like this guy still has some self-awareness. What a pity. If he doesn't listen to us, we can add a steamed fish head. The corners of Ning Tian's mouth lifted slightly. Hearing this, the fathead fish fell even faster. Let's go. Let's go to the Ice God Palace first and wait for Ling to finish her business. Ning Tian stretched and pulled the two girls towards the Ice God Palace. Ice God Palace. A few hours later, a pitiful little lion was kicked out of the room. It was still drooling from the corner of its mouth and was in a daze. The reason was that this little lion was arranged to guard the door, but in the end, it fell asleep and caused some things to happen. In the room, Ning Tian's old face turned red and he coughed dryly. The two girls beside him also hurriedly tidied up their messy clothes and blushed. In front of them, there was an ice god with a red face. That Ling. If Master said that he was cultivating just now, would you believe it? Ning Tian's old face was red as he said something to trick a 3-year-old child. That's right. Just now, when he was sitting with the two girls and cultivating seriously, the door opened with a bang. Ling walked in and saw the three of them cultivating. The most embarrassing thing was that the four of them were stunned for a few seconds. F***CK, was there anything more embarrassing than this? When they were cultivating seriously, they were stared at by their disciple. Ling froze for a moment, blushing and not daring to speak. Luo Wuqing had already buried his head in the quilt. The Empress had already lost her right to speak in this situation. So, it was in this extremely awkward silence that our queen of driving stepped in. Hee, Ling, why don't you join in? Sui Weiyao covered her mouth and chuckled. Under the foxtail was a pair of white and tender legs. In an instant, Ling's whole body turned red. Even the ice god couldn't resist this kind of attack. Master, you guys go ahead. I'll come back later. I have something to show you guys. After that, Ling slipped away like a wisp of smoke, stepping into the void and disappearing. She even helped the three of them close the door. In the room, it fell into silence again. Hee, hubby, what are you thinking about? Sui Weiyao looked at Ning Tian. I'm thinking whether to continue or end it. Ning Tian touched his chin and thought about this very serious problem. Hee, hubby, don't think about it. I'll decide for you. Continue. Sui Weiyao showed everything with action. She pulled Luo Wuqing out of the quilt and kissed Ning Tian. A few hours later. Ling, is this the gift you prepared for me? In the most luxurious hall of the Ice God Palace, Ning Tian looked at the huge pot of fish soup on the table and fell into silence. Even Luo Wuqing and Sui Weiyao were a little surprised. This is what fish soup? Yes. Ling nodded and chuckled. Master, this is the ancient divine fish that attacked you. After I killed it, I froze it in the ice to ensure its meat quality. I was waiting for you to drink it today. And this fish soup is very nutritious. No matter how much you cultivate, you can still make up for it. Speaking of this, Ling seemed to think of the scene that she accidentally saw and blushed. Ahem. Hearing this, the three people in the hall had a tacit understanding. The disciple knows how to be filial to her master. Ning Tian laughed. He didn't expect that his unintentional words were caught by Ling and remembered for so long. Then, Master, you have to drink this entire pot of soup. Ling looked at Ning Tian and said seriously. Ning Tian's smile froze at this moment. This thousands of meters of fish soup. I have to drink it all? This is Ling's intention. Hubby, do you want to disappoint Ling? On the side, Luo Wuqing added. Who told this guy to bully her just now? At this time, it's time to pay for it. Hee. Yes. Sui Weiyao didn't mind watching the fun. Gulp. Seeing the 1,000-meter fish soup and feeling Ling's expectant eyes, Ning Tian swallowed his saliva. Ling, you're really my good disciple. You're filial to your master. Author's words, it's midnight. The sketches of the three women have been published. You can see it soon. WeChat public account. You can see it immediately. Chapter 648. Do I really have to drink it? Asking one last time was Ning Tian's final stubbornness. This fish, putting aside the ancient god's strength, the key was that spirit had used a lot of immortal herbs to brew it. It was simply too nourishing. If he ate them all, would his body explode and he die? Yes, yes. Master, this supreme fish soup is very nourishing. It will definitely be good for Master. Spirit nodded. A pair of extremely serious eyes fell on Ningtian. Those big eyes were full of expectation. Husband, it seems that if you don't drink it today, you will be letting down Spirit's painstaking efforts. The corner of Luo Wuqing's mouth rose slightly. That cold face revealed a rare trace of ridicule as he looked at Ning Tian. Hearing this, Ning Tian's old face turned black. Looking at Spirit's expectant look, he couldn't help but feel that if he didn't drink it, he would be guilty. Okay, I'll drink. Ning Tian looked like he was going all out, but he still wanted a chance. He glanced at the two women and the sealing flame Lion King and struggled to say, "Such a good fish soup. I'll share some with my wife. Also, Sha Tian, this guy, let me drink 100 million mouthfuls." About this, Master, don't worry. I have already prepared for the two sisters. It is different from Master's. What we drink is for beautification, but Master's is for aphrodisiac. However, Spirit seemed to be prepared. Damn, little girl, how can you do things so ruthlessly? Who taught you? Ning Tian wanted to cry but had no tears. Who else? Of course, it's you, Master. Master, you said to do things ruthlessly and not leave any leeway. I remember it. Spirit's mouth rose into a smile. If you want to blame someone, blame Master for teaching me too well. Ning Tian, hearing this, Luo Wuqing and Sui Weiyao at the side couldn't help but laugh. Evil people would be dealt with by evil people. And this little evil person was taught by the big evil person. Then let the sealing flame Lion King drink 100 million mouthfuls. Ning Tian coughed dryly and looked at the flame sealing Lion King. It was as if he was looking at his last life-saving straw. Roar! By the side, the sealing flame Lion King roared. Its eyes landed on the fish soup. It was extremely excited. At this moment, this little lion only had 3 words in its mind. Fish soup? Great tonic? The lioness was satisfied. Oh, lions will die if they drink this. Ling played with the ice blade in her hand and looked at the Lion King. Roar! The Lion King was stunned. You'll die. Ling continued. Ah, ah, ah. After hearing this, the little lions were so scared that they even forgot how to roar. In the end, Ning Tian had to solve this bowl of fish soup by himself. Who? Seeing this, Ning Tian could only let out a long sigh of relief. Then, he took a deep breath and looked like he was facing death calmly. Damn it. Fine. I'll drink it. I can't let down my disciples' painstaking efforts. Under the gazes of the 3 women, Ning Tian strode to the 1,000-meter-long bowl. He seemed to hear someone saying to him, "Warrior, drink this bowl of fish soup." Next, Ning Tian took a deep breath and circulated his spirit qi to drink a mouthful of water. Soon, as the nourishing fish soup entered his body, his aura became stronger and stronger. His stomach also became bigger and bigger. Originally, he thought of using the spatial laws to move the fish soup. However, how could this escape Ling's senses? Don't forget, this disciple has at least reached the ancient god's sovereign realm. Gulp, gulp, gulp. Accompanied by the sound of swallowing, a large bowl of fish soup entered his body. Roar? Seeing this, the sealing flame Lion King couldn't help but feel a little puzzled. Was Master Lion King the Taodai, or was the ancestor the Taodai? At this moment, Ning Tian felt a boundless power in his body. Damn it, is it really going to explode? This girl Ling, just how many supreme-grade immortal herbs did she put in? Feeling his body heating up, Ning Tian couldn't help but exclaim inwardly. This girl is really filial to death. Ling, could something have happened? Luo Wuqing was a classic example of someone who was cold on the outside but warm on the inside. Seeing Ning Tian like this, she couldn't help but worry. She turned her head to the side and asked Ling's sister, "Don't worry, this ancient god fish soup can help Master stabilize his realm and increase his strength. However, I seem to have put in too many supreme-grade immortal herbs." At the end, Ling was a little worried. This shouldn't be. I've already considered Master's situation. I only put in a small portion of the immortal herbs that the Ice God Palace has stored for hundreds of thousands of years. Hearing this, the two women fell silent. As expected of a certain bad guy's disciple, their way of speaking was similar. A small portion of the immortal herbs stored for hundreds of thousands of years, and only. This was already a huge amount of energy. Oh ho, it's over. Not far away, Ning Tian felt that this thing was really aphrodisiac, but that wasn't the main point. Aphrodisiac was aphrodisiac, but he was about to explode. May heaven. No nourishing fish soup. At this moment, however, a gentle energy came from Ning Tian's body, slowly absorbing the energy that was about to burst out. This is the unknown tree? Ning Tian was stunned. It turned out that fish soup was also a kind of nourishing energy. And in the small world in his dantian, in one side of his dantian, the unknown tree had grown from a small sapling to dozens of meters tall. It was very lush, and there were 5 rays of light emitting pressure on the branches. That was life, death, heavenly fire, space, time, and ice. The 6 great laws. The unknown tree didn't absorb all the energy in the fish soup. It only absorbed a small portion that Ning Tian couldn't digest. Although it seemed like a small portion of energy, it still contained a power that couldn't be underestimated. After absorbing this portion of energy, the unknown tree flickered for a while but quickly recovered. With so much energy, it actually didn't even grow to 1 meter? Seeing the changes in the unknown tree, Ning Tian raised his brows slightly. Forget it. Regardless of the unknown tree, I should take care of myself first. Ning Tian withdrew his divine sense from the small world in his dantian. At this moment, he felt that his body was burning with endless energy. The key point was, it was simply unbearable if he didn't release this power. God damn it. Aphrodisiac fish soup. Ning Tian cursed and felt that his body was on fire. Then, he took a step forward and instantly arrived beside the two women. He grabbed their hands and said, "Wife, there's no time to explain. Quickly save me." Luo Wuqing was stunned for a moment. After glancing at Ning Tian, she instantly reacted. A trace of redness appeared on her cold face. "You little girl, wait until Master is done with his cultivation. I'll find trouble with you. I'll ruthlessly spank your little butt." Ning Tian glared at Ling and then pulled the two women into the void. Hee, why should we pay for Ling's actions? Why? You don't want to? Yes, in the void, Su Yueyao's chuckle could be vaguely heard. Author's words, I owe 2 chapters, so I'll make up for it tomorrow. Tomorrow is equivalent to 5 chapters. Oh right, Luo Wuqing's illustration is out, and it will be released after 12 p.m. tonight. The main thing is that I can't release it today, so after 12 p.m., it will be released on WeChat's official account, across the river. Chapter 649. This bowl of fish soup was really very nutritious. Ning Buxu used his combat experience to prove this point. In this battle, it took almost 2 months. 2 months later, in the sky above the Ice God Palace, a crack was torn open, and 3 figures flashed out from the crack. They saw. The aura of the 3 of them had increased by quite a bit. Phew, I don't want to drink fish soup for the rest of my life. I don't want to cultivate seriously for the next month. Ning Tian let out a long sigh. He was almost sick of it these 2 months. Part of the energy of the fish soup had been absorbed by the unknown tree, but it was still very large. He could absorb it in a short period of time by himself. Therefore, he could only share part of the energy with the 2 women. Then, the 3 of them cultivated for 2 months. They really vomited. Although the energy absorption process is a bit complicated, at the very least, it brought a lot of energy. Ning Tian felt the aura of his body. It directly went from the 3-star heavenly god realm to the 7-star heavenly god realm. 4-star in 2 months. It looked very terrifying, but in Ning Tian's case, it was actually very normal. After all, it was a bowl of ancient divine fish soup. However, this was the result of suppressing it. If Ning Tian let go of this energy and let it rush out unscrupulously, it might not be difficult for him to break through to the ancient god realm in 2 months. However, For Ning Tian, who had always wanted a strong foundation, this method was not advisable. Only with a strong foundation could one be invincible in the same realm. What he wanted was not to increase his strength by leaps and bounds, but to be invincible in any realm. "Honey, are you okay?" Ning Tian coughed dryly, looked at the two women beside him, and asked somewhat embarrassedly. As for why he was embarrassed, it was entirely because the process was too rough. "What do you think?" Luo Wuqing rolled her eyes at him. "Haha. However, it is because of my husband's energy that Wuqing and I also reached the 8-star heavenly god realm." At the side, Sui Weiyao covered her mouth and chuckled. The 9 foxtails were all white and flawless, as if they had been refined. 8 stars of the heavenly god stage? Hearing this, Ning Tian nodded slightly. He wasn't surprised. After all, the two women's aptitudes weren't low, and they had endured a lot of energy. If he really wanted to break through, it would definitely be higher than the two women. But because he had more burdens on his shoulders, he demanded more from himself. "Let's go. Thanks to that girl Ling, these 2 months have been fruitful." Ning Tian stretched and tilted her head to look at the two girls. "Yes." The two women nodded. The 3 of them stepped out and landed on the Ice God Palace. Now, even if they were flying recklessly above the Ice God City, no guards would dare to stop them. After all, everyone in the Ice God City knew the identity of the young man in the sky. That was the Master of the Ice God. When the 3 landed in the Ice God Palace, they saw a fat furry thing coming towards them. "Wife, what is this?" Ning Tian looked at the plump plush toy with a puzzled expression. "This?" Luo Wuqing's beautiful eyes looked at it and frowned slightly. She said tentatively, "It should be the flame-sealing Lion King, right?" "Sha Tian?" Ning Tian raised his eyebrows and looked at the plump creature with a puzzled expression. How did Sha Tian become so fat? He probably drank some fish soup. Sui Weiyao covered her mouth and chuckled. "Roar." The flame-sealing Lion King quickly nodded and roared twice. Master Lion had only swallowed the fish rack. After all, cats needed to eat fish, and Master Lion was no exception. Good fellow, Sha Tian had the Taodai bloodline, but he became like this. It seems the ancient divine fish didn't die with regrets. Ning Tian couldn't help but sigh. If the ancient divine fish knew that it still had such an effect after dying for 1,000,000 years, it would probably die peacefully. But why hasn't Sha Tian digested its strength completely? Could it be that this huge force is going to explode in its body? Ning Tian touched his chin and murmured, "Roar grass?" Hearing this, the flame-sealing Lion King was shocked. "Woo-woo, what the hell was that?" Master Lion just ate a fish and wanted to use the ancestral master's method to find a lioness to digest it. But who would have thought that there was no lioness here, only fish? You scared the flame-sealing Lion King to tears. The flame-sealing Lion King's IQ decreased by 1. A voice sounded in his mind. The system was still as annoying as ever. Ning Tian froze for a moment and touched his chin. So, was the Lion King's IQ positive or negative? Was there anyone who knew how to calculate? "Master, you're back?" At this moment, in front of the Ice God Palace, Ling's surprised voice sounded. Ling walked over with Elder Su Bing, and the other 2 following behind her. Their faces were ugly, and their eyes were fierce. "I didn't expect Tian Bing, that old bastard, to have so many evil thoughts. To think that I used to treat him as a brother. From today onwards, the Ice God Palace only has the 3 ice divisions." From the ferocious expressions in the eyes of the 3 of them, one could tell that they had clearly understood everything that the Heavenly Ice General had done during these 2 months. Otherwise, they would not be so angry. "Ling, Tian Bing's matter, is it settled?" Ning Tian walked over with the 2 women and a meatball. He looked at Ling and asked, "Yes, it's settled." Ling nodded slightly. Although her tone was calm, it seemed like she didn't give him any face. "That's good." Ning Tian didn't ask too much. After all, it was his disciple's own business. Moreover, Ling had grown up and her strength had long surpassed him. There were some things that he didn't need to say. "Greetings, Master Ice God." Greetings, young ladies. Elder Su Bing and the other two bowed slightly to Ning Tian and the other two. The identities of the three people in front of them were not simple. There was no need to mention the former. The two women were the young lady of the fire domain and the successor of the demon god domain. They were not to be trifled with. You don't have to go through so much trouble. Just call me Ancestral Master. Ning Tian's lips curled into a smile as she spoke to the three old men. Yes, Ancestor. Elder Su Bing and the other two didn't think that Ning Tian was taking advantage of them. After all, just from the fact that he was the master of the ice god, Ning Tian's status was much higher than theirs. Then, Lord Ice God, we'll go and complete the task you gave us. After Elder Su Bing and the other two bowed slightly, they took their leave. There were only 4 people and an extra little lion in front of the ice god palace. Ling, I have something to ask you. Seeing that the 3 old men had left, Ning Tian didn't waste any time and directly asked Ling. Chapter 650. Master, follow me into the hall. Hearing this, Ling wasn't surprised. She seemed to have expected this. She nodded and waved her hand. The door of the ice god palace opened and she walked in. Seeing this, Ning Tian did not hesitate. She pulled the 2 girls and followed after them. But when the Lion King wanted to go in, Ning Tian stopped him. Shatian, digest this energy first. If you can't, find a female fish to deal with. Ning Tian glared at the Lion King. This guy had a body that could explode at any time and still dared to be so arrogant. Roar! The ceiling flame Lion King let out an aggrieved roar and headed towards a sea region. If he had to suffer a little, so be it. It was better than self-destruction. In the hall, only Ning Tian's group of 4 was left. Ling, you were the one who froze the 10,000 spirits' nest, right? Are they from the heavenly demon cult in the realm of the gods, or the Qin village people? Ning Tian looked at Ling and didn't waste any time. The 10,000 spirits' nest. Ling was silent for a moment. After a while, she nodded. That's right. I did freeze the 10,000 spirits' nest. Most of them are from the Qin village. Sure enough. Seeing that his guess was correct, Ning Tian narrowed his eyes. It was Ling who froze them? Hearing this, Luo Wuqing's beautiful eyes flashed with a touch of surprise. After all, she saw the frozen scene. She didn't expect all of this to be done by Ling. But the Qin village of the Tianjin cult. What is it? On the side, Sui Weiyao listened quietly. She didn't see it with her own eyes, but she heard the 2 talk about it. Why did you do this? Ning Tian looked at Ling and asked again. He had thought of many possibilities regarding the spirit freezing the 10,000 spirits' nest. The most likely one was that the people of Qin village had loosened the black chi seal over the years. That was why the spirit chose to seal them. When they meet again, he would let him do it again. But when he saw them in the 10,000 spirits' devil nest, the Hei Chi seal on their necks didn't seem to have any problems. Then why was that? At this moment, the puzzled gazes of the 3 landed on Ling. I'm sorry, Master. I can't tell you. Ling shook her head. Even if it was a question from the person she missed the most, she did not choose to answer it. You can't say? Hearing this, the 3 of them were stunned. Lass, you really can't tell me? Ning Tian frowned. For once, his expression was serious. His eyes narrowed as he looked at Ling. However, Spirit only shook her head in reply to Ning Tian. Forget it. Since you can't tell me, then I won't ask anymore. Ning Tian didn't press the issue. If she couldn't say anything, then she couldn't say anything. Perhaps Ling was doing this for their own good. Who? Seeing that Ning Tian didn't ask any more questions, Ling couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. She tightly gripped the ice blade in her hand. She was so nervous that she was sweating. If her master had pressed her, she might have really told him. But she absolutely couldn't. So now, can I free them from the ice? Ning Tian narrowed his eyes and asked again. An idea was already stirring in his heart, and that was, he wanted to bring the Tianma cult back to the divine domain. Since Master is here, then there's no problem. Ling didn't object to this. Since I'm here, Ning Tian raised his eyebrows and fell into deep thought. Here, Master, take this ice jade talisman. The ice that I set up can only be broken by eldest senior sister of the heavenly palace. No one in the divine domain can break it. Only this ice jade talisman can dissolve it. Seeing this, Ling hurriedly interrupted Ning Tian's spell. She took out a ice jade talisman from her bosom and spoke with a hint of pride. Okay. With Ling's interruption, Ning Tian's attention was drawn to the ice jade talisman. He reached out and took it. After leaving the southern frost starry sea, he could return to the realm of middle state and release the 10,000 spirits nest. If that's the case, then the ice-cold race there should be people sent by the ice god palace? Ning Tian seemed to have thought of something. The aura on Lan Bing of the Winter Spirit Clan was similar to the ice god palace's cultivation method.
Yes.
But that was a long time ago. Ling nodded slightly. Girl, you should be the guardian of the seal in the land of endless frost, right? After a moment of silence, Ning Tian spoke. The land of endless frost. One of the 4 great seals. The 4 great seals all sealed things related to the dark turmoil. If nothing unexpected happened, he now had 2 of the 3 most important things in the fight against the dark turmoil. The Buddha Demon Tower and the heart of the 3 races. But only this one person was still undecided. Of course, he narcissistically suspected that this person might be himself, but he had no evidence. So he wanted to see the 4 great seals and see if he could find any clues. Ling nodded slightly with a calm expression. Then can we go take a look? Ning Tian asked. Yes. Ling didn't hesitate at all. If Elder Su Bing and the others saw this, they would be so shocked that their eyeballs would fall out. After all, no one dared to mention the seal in front of the ice god. However, when Ning Tian said he wanted to take a look, Ling agreed immediately. Ling shook her head and said slowly, Master, you can go by yourselves. Go north along the ice god palace and you'll see it. I won't go. If I go, it might cause some unnecessary trouble. As the guardian of the land of endless frost, she didn't need to stay in the seal all the time. Just like the 9 masters of the heavenly palace, she only needed to stay in that area. However, this also meant that the ice god couldn't leave the southern frost starry sea at will. Unnecessary trouble? Ning Tian frowned, but Ling didn't explain in detail. She didn't want her master to worry. Okay, but before we go, there's one more thing. Ning Tian stood up from the ice chair, the corners of her mouth curling into a smile. What is it? Ling froze for a moment. When she saw her master and 2 sisters looking at her with a teasing look, she couldn't help but panic. She gritted her teeth and snorted. What do you want to do? I'm the ice god. Ice god? The corners of Ning Tian's mouth lifted. I don't care if you're the ice god or not. In front of me, you're my little disciple. Hearing this, the soft string in Ling's heart seemed to be touched. She froze for a moment, but this also gave Ning Tian some time to act. Ning Tian had already walked over and picked her up, then sat back on the ice chair and put her on his lap. Chapter 651. Girl, even though 2 months have passed, Master still remembers it. Ning Tian glared at Ling. Then, he raised his big hand and slapped the soft butt of a certain girl. Slap, 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 slap. After a few crisp sounds, Ning Tian was satisfied and let go of Ling, whose face was already red. Then, this girl hid behind Luo Wuqing. Good heavens, 2 ice beauties, one big and one small. If that girl by Lu was here, I'm afraid she would draw circles and curse me, saying that I bullied a young girl. Ning Tian murmured. Thinking of a certain silly girl, he could not help but clench his fists subconsciously. But Ling's butt feels pretty good to the touch. Maybe this is F***CK. What am I thinking? Ning Tian said in his heart. However, before he could finish his words, a sense of guilt hit him in the face. He was Ling's master. How could he have such evil thoughts? Hee. I heard that if someone spanked her butt, she won't be able to get married. At the side, Sui Weiyao was ready to assist, which was an obvious hint. Hearing this, Ling, who was hiding behind Luo Wuqing, blushed even more. Her pair of eyes could not help but look at Ning Tian with some expectation. It's okay. Only we know about this. However, Ning Tian calmly expressed that there was no problem. Hearing this, the pretty girl was speechless. Sui Weiyao spread out her hands, indicating that she could not carry him. What's wrong with you guys? Ning Tian scratched his head. Husband. Luo Wuqing sighed and walked over. He pressed his head into his arms and touched his head gently. This made Ning Tian even more confused. How could good things come so quickly? However, he did not see the expression of his wife. His expression clearly said that this child was hopeless. Actually, this could not be blamed on Ning Tian. After all, although 1,000,000 years had passed, to him, it was just the blink of an eye. His feelings for Ling were still at the stage of being a little girl. Little did he know that under the divine power seal of the spirit in front of him was a mature body. This matter, he still had to take it slow. He had to see if a certain someone's brain could handle it. After a while, Ling, we'll go to the sealed land to take a look. Wait for us to come back. Ning Tian looked at Ling and said,
Yes.
Ling nodded. That's right. Before he left, Ning Tian seemed to have thought of something. He looked at Ling and asked, Girl, you should know where I came from, right? I know. Spirit only said 2 words, but Ning Tian knew what was going on. Ling, this girl, should know that he came from the future 1,000,000 years ago. With the answer in his heart, Ning Tian did not waste time talking nonsense. He directly tore open the void and threw the void ship in. After doing all this, he pulled the 2 girls onto the void ship and headed north toward the land of endless frost. In the main hall, the void that Ning Tian tore open slowly healed. When Ling saw this scene, she fell into a daze. She touched the spot where Ning Tian had hit her and felt the lingering warmth of her master's palm. She sighed and murmured after a long while, My master's palm is still warm. Master, you're the one who told me to do this, in the land of endless frost. Space was torn open, and the void ship slowly emerged from the void. Sigh. Without Sha Tian's control, even the speed is a little slower. Ning Tian released the control lever of the void ship and rubbed his chin. It seemed that the void ship's steering position, commonly known as the tool position, should be left to Sha Tian. Hubby, look over there. Luo Wuqing seemed to have seen something. Her jade finger pointed in a direction. Hearing this, on the void ship, Ning Tian and Sui Weiyao both looked over. They saw, in front of him was an icy region. For divine ice pillars rose into the sky, as if they were connected to the cold sky. The wind and snow continued to blow, and the temperature suddenly dropped to the extreme. It was as if even breathing could freeze one's body. In the center, in a layer of ice, there was an ice door standing tall. I'm afraid, behind this ice door should be the sealed land of the endless frigid lands. That should be the land of endless frost. Ning Tian looked over. Then, the heavenly fire appeared in his hand, enveloping the 3 of them to resist the frost. Hubby, let me do it. However, Luo Wuqing interrupted him. You? Ning Tian was stunned. Luo Wuqing nodded. No way, no way. Don't you know that Wuqing has merged with the heavenly fire? Haha. At the side, the little wife was very naughty at this time, covering her mouth and giggling. Oh, merge? Ning Tian's curious gaze fell on Luo Wuqing. What was going on? He saw a ball of flame appeared in Luo Wuqing's hand. The power of the heavenly fire slowly merged into her body. Her delicate body's aura became stronger and stronger, vaguely reaching the ancient god realm. Her fine black hair also gradually changed color at this moment, turning into an ice-cold blue. This is? Ning Tian raised his eyebrows. The special form after the heavenly fire merges, the holy blue flame. Luo Wuqing explained. At this moment, her aura was slightly cold, but the flame in her hand was emitting a blazing temperature. With her blue hair, she was even more beautiful, like a fairy in the human world, untainted by a speck of dust. Just like the name of this special form, the holy blue flame. The heavenly fire can merge? Why can't I? Because you must have the sacred sun constitution, Luo Wuqing said. Well, I don't deserve it. Ning Tian spread his hands. The heavenly fire law was indeed more compatible with the sacred sun constitution. So, You also have a hidden method? Ning Tian glanced at Su Yueyao. Haha, of course, Su Yueyao covered her mouth and giggled. It seems that the two of you have grown in the past 2 years. I am very pleased. Ning Tian hugged the two of them. Bah. It was the two of us who had been protecting you. Luo Wuqing spat at him. Haha, it's the heartless truth. Su Yuyao laughed. Cough. What are you talking about? Ning Tian blushed and coughed dryly. Well, let's go in quickly. If this went on, his secret would be exposed. Seriously, was he, Ning Tian, the kind of person who would live off a woman? He had never lived off a woman. It was purely because of his bad teeth. Under the illumination of Luo Wuqing's merged heavenly fire, the three of them quickly arrived at the thick ice door. There were no guards here, but the ice was the most strict guard. Moreover, within a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles, or even more, everything was within the range of Ling's senses. Not a single movement could escape her senses. Therefore, there was no need to set up guards here. Phew. This door, how do I open it? Looking at the thick ice door, Ning Tian fell into deep thought. Chapter 652. Pushing it away with brute force was obviously not a good idea. Buzz. Just then, Ning Tian seemed to have heard a sound. Puzzled, he took out the thing that made the sound. It was the frost jade talisman that Ling gave him. He frowned. Could it be that this thing can open the ice gate in the land of endless frost in addition to unsealing the 10,000 spirits' nest? Then this is a good thing. This girl just threw it to me. How much trust does she have in me? Ning Tian shook his head. Then, he picked up the frost jade talisman and pointed it at the thick ice gate. Buzz. The frost jade talisman flickered and floated in the air. Then, a cold light flowed out from it. There's a huge force up there. Su Yueyao exclaimed. Yeah, both of you, step back. Ning Tian nodded seriously. However, this time, the two girls did not step back. Luo Wuqing's blue hair fluttered in the wind. Su Yueyao's foxtail swayed. It seemed to have grown longer. At this moment, her aura had also reached the ancient god realm. Hubby, husband, we're stronger than you right now. The two girls held hands and said in unison. Ning Tian was stunned for a moment. Then, he touched his nose and sighed helplessly. Why do you have to let me live off you? Am I such a person? Ning Tian sighed and hugged the two girls silently. So fragrant. As the frost jade talisman poured energy, a dazzling light appeared in front of the three of them. Then, accompanied by a chill, the white light in front of them became stronger and stronger. In an instant, there was only white light in front of them. A moment later, the surrounding space seemed to have changed. The white light slowly dissipated. Is this the land of endless frost? Ning Tian murmured. His voice spread all around. This place seemed to be an ice crystal cave. Above their heads, there was a white array with cold air that was slowly circulating. Buzz. At this moment, the icy jade talisman also returned to Ning Tian's hand. This place is completely different from the blood-soaked desert. It's too quiet here. It's so quiet. I can even hear my heartbeat clearly. Is that girl Ling guarding this place? Too lonely. Luo Wuqing shook his head and sighed. He could even hear the echo of his own voice when he spoke. Su Yueyao felt the same way. It was not easy for Ning Tian remained silent. He looked at the seal above his head and observed it carefully. There did not seem to be any void beasts within the seal. No, rather than saying that there were no void beasts, it should be said that they had not appeared yet. Because those faux beasts were most likely hiding in places where they could not be seen. He could not let his guard down. Since the virtual beasts here are not rioting, there are only two possibilities, Ning Tian said slowly after pondering for a while. 2 possibilities? Which 2 possibilities? The two women looked at Ning Tian in confusion. First, the seal here is more complete than the one in the blood-soaked desert. That's why those void beasts do not dare to act rashly. Ning Tian slowly raised a finger and said, It's indeed possible. Hearing this, The two women looked at the seal above the ice crystal cave and nodded slightly. The seal in the blood-soaked desert had loosened. That was why the void beasts there were so rampant. It was quieter here, which reflected that the seal here was more stable. What's the second possibility? Su Yueyao asked. The second possibility is that a glint flashed in Ning Tian's eyes. He looked at the seal in the sky and said indifferently, that is, the void beast sealed in the land of endless cold is not the same type as the one sealed in the land of blood-stained sand. Not the same type? Hearing this, the two women fell silent. After being reminded by Ning Tian, it seemed that it was indeed possible. It seems, in order to confirm this idea, we have to go to the four sealed places. Ning Tian murmured. Okay. The two women nodded heavily at the side. In that case, let's take a look around. Although there was a possibility, it was only a possibility. While they were still in the endless cold land, Ning Tian wanted to see if there was any useful information. Okay. The two women nodded slightly. They each held one of Ning Tian's hands and followed at the side. Next, the three of them walked around the endless cold land. However, it seemed that they did not gain anything. It seems, this place doesn't have what I want. Ning Tian shook his head and was about to leave with the two women. However, right at this moment, in his Dantian's small world, the unknown tree changed. Boom. Ning Tian's body shook. He was stunned for a moment. Huh. Husband, what's wrong? The two women looked at him with puzzled eyes. It's nothing. Ning Tian waved his hand slightly. Then, his consciousness directly entered the small world in his Dantian. On the Dao land in his Dantian, the unknown tree that was dozens of meters tall swayed slightly and emitted a glow. It wants to absorb energy? What kind of energy is it absorbing? It can't be absorbing the seal's energy, right? Ning Tian murmured and frowned. If it was absorbing the seal's energy, he could not let the unknown tree act recklessly. Buzz. The unknown tree shook. Next, a pitch-black energy poured into the tree trunk continuously. Seeing this scene, Ning Tian quickly sensed the seal's movement. If the seal's energy was lacking, he would immediately stop the unknown tree. However, after a while, the pitch-black energy poured in, but the seal's energy was not lacking. Then, what kind of energy is the unknown tree absorbing? Ning Tian frowned. There was a trace of doubt. Ning Tian, this child, had always been straightforward. Hence, he asked her, System, what kind of energy is the unknown tree absorbing? Very soon, the system responded. There's an answer. The system won't say. I'll let you guess. Sigh, it's just for fun. Hearing this, Ning Tian slowly typed a question mark. What's wrong with the system again? Speak the system's language? Ning Tian said angrily. System. What does the energy absorbed by the unknown tree have to do with the system? Ning Tian was silent. Forget it. It seemed that this lousy system did not know either. However, looking at the energy absorbed by the unknown tree, it should not be a big problem. Then, he would let it slowly absorb it. After a while, the unknown tree stopped absorbing, and the unknown tree grew from dozens of meters to an astonishing 30 meters. It had doubled in size. This energy is quite powerful. Ning Tian was silent. One had to know that the unknown tree absorbed a little of Ling's fish soup and did not even grow to 1 meter. One could imagine how terrifying the black energy it absorbed was. Chapter 653. Could it be that every sealed place has this kind of energy? Ning Tian had a guess in his heart. If that was the case, there would be one more reason to go to the sealed place. At the very least, this energy could allow the unknown tree to grow. However, previously in the blood-stained yellow sand, the unknown tree did not react. It was probably because the unknown tree had not yet grown at that time. It seems that there is still a certain harvest, Ning Tian muttered, and then withdrew from the small world in his Dantian. It's about time. Let's go back first. Ning Tian looked at the two women beside him and said slowly, Okay. The two women did not have any objections to Ning Tian's words and nodded obediently. Let's go. Ning Tian said, and then took out the frost jade talisman. With a flash of ice, the three figures disappeared from this space. With the disappearance of the three, the endless cold land returned to its previous silence. Woo-woo, as if there was also a gust of cold wind blowing, incomparably eerie. And no one saw it. Outside the seal, a huge black shadow flashed past. Outside the ice door, Ning Tian put away the frost jade talisman, stretched, and tilted his head to look at the two women. Wife, let's go back. That girl Ling might really be worried. Okay. The two women nodded slightly. By the way, wife, did you and Ling reach some kind of consensus? Ning Tian seemed to have thought of something and was looking for an opportunity to ask. Consensus? You want to know? Luo Wuqing's gaze fell on Ning Tian. Yes. Ning Tian's eyes were filled with anticipation. I'm not telling you. Ning Tian, wife, you've been led astray. You've been led astray by your little wife. She doesn't learn the good things, but you've learned the bad things. I'm not. You're talking nonsense. On the side, Su Yueyao shook her fox tail to prove her innocence. Yueyao's good? Luo Wuqing was stunned. For example, her driving skills, Ning Tian said seriously. However, this sentence directly caused Luo Wuqing to roll his eyes. But, honey, aren't you going to ask why Ling is my disciple? Aren't you curious? A glimmer of light flashed in Ning Tian's eyes as he said slowly. Hearing this, the two women were silent. After a while, they said in unison, We're curious, but we'll have to wait until you've thought of what to say before you tell us. Hearing this, Ning Tian felt warm in his heart. His two wives always knew that they would never force him. They would give him enough time and space, as well as the greatest tolerance.
Yes.
Ning Tian nodded heavily and pulled the two women into his arms. He really didn't know how to explain it now. As he didn't know if it would affect anything if he were to speak of the past, it was inappropriate for him to say too much at the moment. Let's go. Let's go back to the Ice God Palace. The three hugged each other for a while, then Ning Tian said softly. Okay, Ice God Palace. When Ning Tian and the other two returned, they saw Ling and the ceiling flame Lion King descending from the sky. Girl, this is... Seeing the red marks on the Lion King's face, Ning Tian couldn't help but frown. However, it was worth mentioning that the Lion King's chubby appearance seemed to have improved a little. Master, this is a little awkward to say. Ling spread her hands helplessly and explained to the three. The general situation was like this. In order to release this energy, the Lion King ran to the fish valley not far from the Ice God Palace and hooked up with the most beautiful fish demon in the valley. After the lion and fish experienced the matter of love, the energy was too strong and the fish demon fainted after receiving it. Then, the fish in the fish valley chased after the Lion King. The red marks on its face were from the fish tail. If it wasn't for Ling rushing over in time and the master of the fish valley giving face to the ice god, the Lion King would have become a roasted lion by now. After hearing this, the group fell into an extreme silence. What was this? Shot tea on you. You old lecherous lion. Like master, like pet. Can't you learn from me? Look at how serious I am. Ning Tian sighed. She looked as if she had expected better from him. Hearing this, the three girls silently put a question mark in their hearts. Roar. The Lion King felt wronged. Master Lion learned from his master. Roar, roar. The Lion King was indignant. It was clearly a matter of love between lions and fish. Why was it always the one who got hurt? Girl. In a few days, we will be preparing to leave the southern Ice Star Ocean. At this time, Ning Tian took a deep breath, looked at Ling and said slowly. Hearing this, Ling was stunned for a moment. A trace of reluctance flashed across her beautiful eyes. After 1,000,000 years of longing, Master was leaving so soon? Girl, why are you crying? This is different from 1,000,000 years ago. Parting doesn't mean farewell. Ning Tian chuckled and scratched Ling's little nose. We can still come and see you. Hee. Yes, we will come often. The two girls also smiled and looked at Ling and Ling nodded heavily. From the beginning to the end, Ning Tian didn't say that he would take the initiative to take Ling away. If he took Ling away, He could solve Ling's lovesickness and have a peerless expert by his side. However, he didn't choose to do so. He couldn't be so irresponsible for himself. Ling was the ice god. She was the person half of the people in the southern ice star ocean relied on. She was also the guardian of the endless cold seal. She was burdened with responsibilities, burdened with hopes, and burdened with everything. She couldn't let his appearance change all of this. But it wasn't that Ning Tian couldn't do anything. Since he appeared, it was different from 1,000,000 years ago. He could become stronger, strong enough to protect the people here, and strong enough to take Ling away with his own hands. All right, girl. Why don't you take advantage of these few days to play around in the Ice God Palace? Ning Tian looked at Ling with a smile, and Ling's eyes lit up and she nodded. The plot of playing is very lame in the main text. If you're interested, you can write a side story. A few days later, all the experts in the Ice God City and Ice God Palace looked at the sky. There was a huge battleship parked there. All right, girl, Master is very happy these few days. Let's stop here. We're going back. Ning Tian looked at Ling with a smile and said to her. And Ling nodded. Sister Ling, see you in the future. Good luck. The two girls cheered Ling on. As for what they meant, perhaps only the three of them knew. Hearing this, Ling lowered her head as if she was gathering her courage. All right, let's go. Ning Tian turned around and looked at the two girls, preparing to board the void ship. Master. However, at this moment, Ling's voice sounded behind him. Ning Tian turned around instinctively. A fragrant wind blew over. Girl, you? Regarding the illustration, let me emphasize again. Everyone has a different Luo Wuching in their hearts. I can't satisfy everyone, and neither can the artist. So, if you think it looks like Luo Wuching, if you don't think it looks like a good wallpaper, it's fine as long as it's welfare. The reason why it's not an ancient costume is mainly because the author is poor. Chapter 654. A gust of fragrant wind blew over. Ning Tian instinctively turned around. The moment he turned around, he saw a cold light circulating around Ling's delicate body. Her delicate body seemed to have changed at this moment, and her youthful face seemed to have matured a lot. A peerless face appeared in front of Ning Tian. Girl. You? Ning Tian watched as Ling transformed from a young girl into a peerless beauty. He was still in a daze. His eyes flashed with astonishment and amazement. He knew that his judgment back then was right. Ling would definitely be a great beauty when she grows up. And in front of him, the adult version of Ling did not say a word and directly threw herself into Ning Tian's arms. Then, she lifted her head. Ning Tian immediately felt a different kind of softness on his lips, and his eyes widened. Damn it! I was forcefully kissed by my own disciple? And beside my wife? It's over. It's over. What a sin. What should I do now? As a veteran, Ning Tian was at a loss for what to do at this moment. He could only allow Ling Ling to carry on with her inexperience. She even seemed to have forgotten about her surroundings. After a while, Ling blushed and let go of Ning Tian. Master, now, you won't feel guilty. This is just me kissing you, not you kissing me. So, it's nothing. This is just a farewell ceremony. Yes, this is just a ceremony. Ling explained in a panic. At this moment, the cold light on her body slowly dissipated, and her mature body once again transformed into that of a young girl. You little girl. Ning Tian was stunned for a moment. Feeling the lingering sweetness on his lips, he could not help but smile helplessly. Then, he rubbed Ling's head and chuckled. That layer of seal, if it's possible, I'll remove it next time. What he was referring to was the divine power seal that Ling planted in her body, which allowed her to maintain her current appearance. Huh. Hearing this, Ling's expression was extremely abnormal, and her little face instantly turned red. What's wrong? Can't I? Ning Tian raised his eyebrows. No. If it's master, then that's fine, Ling said in a very serious manner. Ning Tian was confused. Why was this girl speaking so strangely? So be it. Ling, let's go. Ning Tian shook his head. Then, Under the teasing gazes of the two girls, he wormed his way into the void ship. Being forcefully kissed by his own disciple, this was 2F** king exciting. The two girls followed him. Beside him, Su Yueyao giggled. Honey, do you know how the spirit seal was formed? It's the chastity of a young girl. Huh. Ning Tian was dumbfounded. Hee, you said you were going to undo the seal on Ling. That means, honey, are you a beast or worse than a beast? Su Yueyao giggled. Her eyes were full of mockery. F***CK. Heaven Destroyer. Hurry up and open it. I've lost all my face. A cry of surprise came from the deck of the void ship. Then, the void ship sailed into the void and disappeared in the blink of an eye. In the sky above the Ice God Palace, there was still a trace of redness on Ling's little face. The corners of her mouth curled up slightly as she murmured, "This time, have you found the right way?" In the void. The void ship left the southern Ice Star Ocean at an extremely fast speed and headed toward the middle state of the Big Dipper starfield. Oh my god, I actually said that. Then won't Ling think I'm an old pervert? It's over. I'm afraid the great master image I worked so hard to establish is gone just like that. On the void ship, Ning Tian spread his hands helplessly. Don't worry. Your old pervert image should have been cemented in Ling's heart long ago. On the side, Luo Wuqing said lightly. That's right. So husband, you don't have to worry about it. Su Yueyao chimed in. Ning Tian, forget it. Let's take care of business first. Ning Tian shook his head and looked at the frost jade talisman at his waist. Hearing Ning Tian's words, Luo Wuqing was silent for a moment. Then, his gaze fell on Ning Tian and asked, Husband, this time, we're going directly to the 10,000 Spirits Demon Nest, right? Yes. Ning Tian nodded slightly. He took the frost jade talisman from his waist and held it in his hand. With this frost jade talisman, I should be able to dissolve that girl's ice seal. It's a pity that she doesn't want to tell me the reason. Perhaps Ling must have her own difficulties as well. Su Yueyao said slowly. Yes, we'll ask her when she wants to talk about it. Speaking of this, Ning Tian felt a headache coming on. Although Ling was his disciple, her strength was far beyond his. If she didn't want to talk about it, he couldn't force her. However, although he couldn't get an answer, at least there was some progress. Anyway, let's go to the 10,000 Spirits Demon Nest first. Ning Tian silently put away the frost jade talisman. Yes. The two girls nodded. A few days later, Zhongzhou region, Zhongzhou city. A huge black battleship tore through the void, causing a series of rumbling sounds. It instantly attracted the attention of many people. There seemed to be cursing sounds coming from the void. Damn! Shatian, you drank fake wine. At this moment, Zhongzhou city, Zhongzhou palace. A few acquaintances of Ning Tian's were here. Virtual God, the ancestral master seems to have made a lot of movements recently. However, someone said that the ancestral master disappeared from the Big Dipper Pagoda. We haven't found out about this matter yet. Di Wuji sighed helplessly. Although they entered the Big Dipper mystic realm 2 years ago, they didn't enter the Big Dipper Pagoda. They were only looking for opportunities outside. However, they didn't expect. Since then, there had been news of the ancestral master's disappearance. There had been no news at all for the past 2 years. It really made them worried. Don't worry. The empty god emperor held a book in his hand and studied it carefully. When he heard Di Wuji's words, he only said indifferently, "Who is the ancestral master?" "Forever God. Don't worry too much." Even so, Di Wuji frowned and took a sip of tea. What are you reading?" He frowned and looked over. He saw Old Su was holding a book in his hand. There were 6 words written on it, Ancestral Master's Cheating Notes. Di Wuji was speechless. Boom. At this moment, there seemed to be a strange sound. Did you hear a strange sound? Di Wuji frowned. Oh, strange sound? Wait for me to flip through the book. Let me think about what the Ancestral Master will do. The empty god emperor raised his eyebrows and flipped through the book. The 38th entry of the Ancestral Master's Cheating Notes. If there is a strange sound above the head, There will be justice from the heavens. Justice from the heavens? Justice from the heavens? Their eyes widened at the same time as they looked up. Damn. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. One day is Su Tian, and the other day is Meng. Chapter 655. Above the empty god palace, a huge, pitch-black battleship tore through the void and charged out. Moreover, it charged towards the entire empty god palace in an extremely enthusiastic manner. Many disciples of the empty god palace were so frightened that they fled outside. God damn it! Is throwing objects from the sky popular now? F***C. It's really justice from the heavens. My ancestors' notes were indeed correct. The empty god emperor's eyes lit up. Even his brain was trembling. Justice from the heavens could only mean one thing. He must have learned something from his ancestor. Your empty god palace seems to be collapsing. However, don't worry. I've roughly calculated for you. You only need 100 million spirit coins to rebuild it. Di Wuji looked at the commotion above his head and said lightly, 100 million? The empty god emperor raised his brows. His expression was indifferent. Do I, old Su, care about 100 million? Anyway, my ancestor is the one paying for it. And that makes sense. Di Wuji rubbed his chin and nodded. So, the empty god palace is about to collapse. What are you two still standing there for? Run. The disciples of the empty god palace who were fleeing couldn't help but roar when they saw that the empty god palace was about to collapse. Oh, I forgot. Old Su and the old emperor said in unison. The disciples of the empty god palace who were fleeing. Boom. However, at this moment, the pitch-black battleship had already smashed heavily into the empty god palace. In an instant, the empty god palace was left in ruins. Not far away. Seeing the empty god palace turn into ruins in the blink of an eye, many cultivators were shocked. However, they remained calm. This should be the worst destruction the Void God Palace has suffered in recent years. Could it be that empty god fella has finally mastered the word demolition technique? Seeing this scene, the group of cultivators in Zhengzhou City couldn't help but frown. The empty god palace would collapse from time to time, and the word demolition would appear in the sky from time to time. The empty god palace's explanation for this situation was that the empty god emperor was cultivating a word demolition technique. Looking at the extent of the destruction, could it be that empty god had finally mastered it? Haha, Taishu. It seems that your nihility god has mastered the split word formula. Not far away, the two old men were watching this scene. One of them was Tian. Beside him was the old ancestor of the empty god palace, the great void old ancestor. This bastard. This old man wants to see what kind of tricks he's playing. The great void sect patriarch cursed loudly. In the past few years, ever since the void god emperor had come to the void god palace, the void god palace had been repaired every once in a while. Now it was all gone. His voice faded. The great void ancestor immediately flashed and headed towards the ruins. Seeing this, Tian also gloated and followed. Amidst the ruins, the old emperor and old Su clasped their palms together and sat peacefully under a huge, pitch-black battleship. According to the 39th rule of the Ancestral Master's Manual, we should not do anything at this time. Old Su said quietly, "Virtual gods, what are you doing?" By the side, the Great Void Sect Patriarch's cursing voice could be heard. However, when the Great Void Sect Patriarch got closer, he saw a huge battleship. It was because of this battleship that their Void God technique collapsed. Could it be he had wronged the Void God? Damn it! This old man wants to see who dares to destroy my Void God Palace. If this old man finds out who it is, this old man will thank him properly. The Great Void Sect Patriarch looked fiercely at the huge battleship. However, before he could finish speaking, he saw a lion's head poke out. Next, a man and two women appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Damn it, luckily I changed my words. It's the Ancestral Master. Seeing that young man, the Great Void Sect Patriarch broke out in cold sweat. On the Void ship, Ning Tian rolled his eyes at the ceiling flame Lion King. Sha Tian, did you drink fake wine? You knew there was a crack in the void, and you still drove there. You did it on purpose, didn't you? Ao, woo-woo. The ceiling flame Lion King tried his best. When they encountered the crack in the void, he accidentally farted. The fish had not been completely digested yet. The void ship is damaged? Forget it. I'll find time to let 8th senior brother repair it. I remember that he still needs a lot of good ores. It shouldn't be a problem to cheat him a little. Ning Tian rubbed his chin. Then, he felt the gazes around him and asked a question from his soul. So, where do we smash it? At the side, Luo Wuqing thought for a moment and said slowly, Husband, when we encountered the crack in the void, we should be near the Middle State region. This should be the Middle State city. Hey, Ancestral Master. At this moment, an excited voice came from below the void ship. This voice sounds very weak. Could it be that fellow old Su? Ning Tian raised his eyebrows and muttered. After that, he jumped down from the void ship with the 2 women and a small lion. Sure enough, he saw 2 familiar people in a pile of ruins. Their hands were clasped together and their faces were peaceful as they were pressed under the void ship. What are the 2 of you doing? Ning Tian frowned and looked at the 2 of them in confusion. After not seeing them for a few years, the 2 of them had unlocked a new cultivation posture. Ancestral Master, can we move this thing away and reminisce about the past? Di Wuji said weakly. The void ship is not heavy. Heavenly gods can move it easily. Ning Tian said quietly. The old emperor and old Su, heavenly gods. It had only been a few years since they reached the ancestral god realm. Now, they were only at the 3 stars of the ancestral god realm. Advancing by 1 star in a year was already an amazing speed. They thought that they would catch up to their ancestral master soon. Who knew that their ancestral master would say that he was at the heavenly god realm every time he opened his mouth? Ancestral Master, you've broken through to the heavenly god realm? Di Wuji could not help but be stunned. It had only been a few years, and his ancestral master had broken through to the 1 star of the heavenly god realm? Yes. Ning Tian nodded slightly. Then, with a wave of his hand, he kept the void ship. In a few years, you've broken through to the 1 star of the heavenly god realm from the ancestral god realm. As expected of the ancestral master, Di Wuji slowly rose to his feet. He looked at Ning Tian with eyes full of respect and admiration, as expected of the man that he, Di Wuji, admired. I should be able to become a supreme ancient god soon. At this moment, the ancestral master's low-key voice sounded again. Di Wuji, what? The ancestral master is about to become a supreme ancient god. Di Tian and the old ancestor of the Great Void sect were shocked when they heard the ancestral master's words. In just a few years, the ancestral master had surpassed their cultivation time of hundreds of thousands of years. Although they were not peerless geniuses, their talents were not low. They knew how difficult cultivation was. However, the ancestral master had surpassed them so easily after not seeing them for a few years. Chapter 656. You shocked Di Wuji. You shocked Di Tian. You shocked the Great Void sect's patriarch. At this moment, the system's voice kept ringing in his mind. Reward, space door. The space door means that when you use the space laws, you can form a space door that can travel between the divine realm and the 9 regions at will, ignoring the heavenly Tao suppression. Oh, ignoring the heavenly Tao suppression? Hearing the system's words, Ning Tian raised his brows slightly. This was a good thing, although he was not afraid of the heavenly Tao suppression. However, his plan was to bring back the Tianma cult of the 9 regions. He had originally planned to use the space laws, but there was a heavenly Tao suppression between the 9 regions and the divine realm. Although he was not afraid, the people of the Tianma cult of the 9 regions were. However, now that he had the space door, he did not have to worry about the heavenly Tao suppression. After settling the matters here, let's head to the 9 regions. Ning Tian muttered. At the side, Di Wuji and the others were still in a state of shock. The patriarch's cultivation was really as simple as drinking water. Unlike the others, old Su had a calm expression on his face. It was said that the patriarch would always be a god. Was it that difficult? Was it difficult? He calmly took out the ancestral master's scamming notes and silently wrote on it. Rule 51. You have to pretend to be cool elegantly, but you also have to trick people elegantly. The ancestral master's elegance will never be outdated. Honey, let's go. Seeing that they were still in shock, Ning Tian did not intend to waste time on them. He turned to look at the two women and said calmly, "Okay." The two women nodded slightly. "Ancestral master, you're leaving? Why don't you come to my Wanxiang palace to catch up?" Seeing that Ning Tian was about to leave, Di Tian could not help but raise his brows. He was not afraid that the house would collapse and wanted to persuade him to stay. "No. I have to make another trip to the 10,000 Spirits Demon Denver." Ning Tian shook his head. 10,000 Spirits Demon Den? Why don't I go with the ancestral master? We can take care of each other. Di Tian hurriedly said. When he saw Ning Tian's potential, he became even more eager to join him. I can also go with the ancestral master. By the side, seeing that Di Tian had sneaked away, the Great Void Patriarch hurriedly said, "You?" Hearing this, Ning Tian raised his eyebrows. He rubbed his chin and thought for a while. Then, he nodded slightly. "That's fine. Maybe we need a few tools to explore the way." Hearing this, the corners of Di Tian and the Grand Ancestor's mouths twitched. We all understand the logic. Although he's a tool, Patriarch, you should at least give him some face. Let's go, Ning Tian said to the others. Then, he pulled the two women and stepped into the void, heading towards the 10,000 Spirits Devil Nest. He didn't have the mood to stay in the central continent city. Oh woo. Seeing that it couldn't keep up with Ning Tian, the lion pursed its lips and leaped onto old Su's head after letting out a howl. Clearly, it wanted to hitch a ride. Patriarch's speed is truly fast, Di Tian sighed. Then, he shook his head and hurriedly led a group of people to follow him. 10,000 Spirits Devil Nest. A crack appeared in the sky. Then, several figures appeared. Up ahead is the Winter Spirit Forbidden Land. No one is allowed to enter. Otherwise, you'll be killed. Before Ning Tian and the others could get close, they heard Lan Bing's murderous voice. "Lan Bing, it's us." Luo Wuqing walked out of the crowd and looked at Lan Bing. "Me, miss?" Lan Bing was stunned. Her eyes flashed with surprise. She hurriedly ordered the Winter Spirit clan members behind her to put away their ice spears. Then, she walked over. "Miss, why are you here?" "Naturally, we're here today to thaw the frozen earth," Ning Tian said slowly. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, the Winter Spirit clan was sent here by Ling to guard the frozen earth. Coincidentally, they were saved by Luo Wuqing's mother and submitted to Luo Wuqing's mother. Of course, Qin Luo's shadow must be involved. Otherwise, how could the people of the Ice God sect submit to someone else so easily? Frozen Earth, someone's finally here. Hearing this, a bitter expression appeared on Lan Bing's face. Once the frozen earth is thawed, you'll be free. It's up to you to decide whether you want to leave or continue to follow us, Ning Tian said indifferently as his gaze landed on Lan Bing. Hearing this, Lan Bing was stunned. A trace of confusion flashed through her eyes. "How do you know so clearly? If I say I asked the Ice God, would you believe me?" "No." Lan Bing shook her head. Although she was the leader of the Winter Spirit clan, she had never seen the Ice God. After all, it had been too long. However, she had learned about the Ice God from the previous Winter Spirit clan members. Who was the Ice God? She was an ancient god-level expert who had unified half of the Southern Frost Astral Sea. How could it be easy to meet her? Hearing this, Ning Tian spread his hands. "I've told you the truth. If you don't believe me, then don't blame me. Let's go." Ning Tian looked at the pitch-black cave in front of him. It seemed to contain many secrets. He stretched lazily and then pulled the two women toward the Myriad Spirits Demon Nest. Seeing this, Di Tian and the others hurriedly followed. Freedom. Lan Bing's lips curled into a helpless smile. Freedom was dispensable to them. What they wanted was a mission that was as cold as ice. Let's go. Follow the young miss. Lan Bing waved her hand and grasped her ice spear. She led the Winter Spirit clan members and followed. After everyone had entered the 10,000 Spirits Devil Nest, several black figures appeared outside the nest. This place, I once sensed the aura of the demonic pagoda. Could the lost demonic pagoda be here? I didn't expect to encounter the lost demonic pagoda on this unintentional trip. The group entered the myriad spirits demon nest. The surrounding temperature was getting colder and colder. It was so cold that a certain small lion almost turned into an ice lion. The temperature here is even colder than before. Ning Tian frowned. Although he had his wife's holy blue flames to protect him from the cold, he could still clearly sense that the temperature around him was much colder than it was when he first arrived. Hiss, there's a place like this in the Middle State? What's hidden here? The Great Void Ancestor was shivering from the cold. He was shivering along with Old Su. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Lan Bing glanced at the Great Void Ancestor and said slowly, ever since you left, the temperature in the forbidden land of winter spirits has plummeted. Even we can't withstand it. Plummeting. Luo Wuching frowned. Could it have caused some kind of resonance? Sui Weiyao guessed. I don't know. We'll know when we get there. Ning Tian shook his head. No matter how much he guessed, it was useless. The two women nodded. Then, the group headed towards the depths of the 10,000 Spirits Demon Nest. Ning Tian had been here before, so she was quite familiar with the place. Very quickly, she found the deep cave from before. Chapter 657. There was a thick layer of ice in the 100-meter-wide hole. The buildings they saw before were still faintly visible. Is this the Tianma cult of the god domain that was frozen in ice? Sui Weiyao looked down into the hole. Sure enough, she saw the figures frozen in ice. Her beautiful eyes flashed with astonishment. Are they all dead? Old Su looked over. Being frozen like this, they must be dead. They're not dead. Ning Tian's gaze landed on the ice seal as he shook his head, after which he leaped into the cave. The group hurriedly followed when they saw this. Inside the frozen cave, it was deathly silent. Di Tian and the others followed behind Ning Tian fearfully. They didn't play the role of tools at all. Ning Tian ignored them. He took the two women's hands and led them to the deepest part of the ice, the Tianma cult's cultivation square. Everyone was frozen there, in the cold wind. In the frozen Tianma cult square, a group of frozen cultivators closed their eyes. They seemed to be waiting for something to descend. There was also a statue of a black-clothed youth in the middle of the square. A statue again. Hubby, this can't be you again, right? Sui Weiyao raised her eyebrows and couldn't help but ask when she saw the black-clothed youth statue. Maybe. Ning Tian coughed dryly. As the founder of the Tianma cult in various senses, this black-clothed youth statue might really be him. All right, get ready. Ning Tian's expression gradually turned serious. Then, he slowly took out the ice jade talisman that Spirit had given him. The moment he took it out, it seemed to have sensed something. It directly flew to the sky above the ice-sealing sky demon cult and began to erupt with a terrifying energy. It's absorbing the ice? Seeing this, the group's expression turned serious. This energy, it's so familiar. Could it really be Lord Ice God? Lan Bing was stunned. A trace of astonishment flashed through her beautiful eyes. It is indeed effective. It seems that as long as the Frost Jade Talisman absorbs all the ice energy here, there should be no problem. Ning Tian's eyes lit up as he muttered. However, could things really go so smoothly? Boom, boom. In the sky, the light emitted by the frigid ice jade talisman became brighter and brighter, and the surrounding snowstorm seemed to have stopped at this moment. After a long time, under everyone's gaze, the surrounding ice melted and turned into a cold energy that flowed towards the ice jade talisman in the sky. Boom. However, right at this moment, an attack mixed with violent spiritual energy shot towards the frozen jade talisman in the sky. From the looks of it, it wanted to knock the frozen jade talisman down. How dare you? Seeing this, Ning Tian's eyes flashed. He knew that things weren't so simple. He raised his hand and gathered the space law. With a strong clench of his hand, the violent attack was instantly diverted by him and slammed heavily into the side of the mountain. It was also at this moment that the group became cautious. There is indeed the aura of the demonic pagoda here. Kakik, and there seems to be another power. In the originally silent ice cave, a strange laughter rang out. Following that, several powerful figures appeared in front of Ning Tian and the group without any warning. Who is it? In an instant, Lan Bing led a group of Winter Spirit clan members and raised the ice spears in their hands. They looked at the figures in front of them with vigilance. Di Tian and the others were puzzled. When did these people appear? 2 supreme ancient gods, 3 heavenly gods. Ning Tian looked over and felt the aura on their bodies. He frowned slightly. This aura seemed to be similar to ancient god Yuan Tu's group. As for the aura of the demonic pagoda they were talking about, could it be the Buddha demonic pagoda? After all, he had used the Buddha demonic pagoda to deal with 2 faceless demon gods. 2 supreme ancient gods? Hearing this, the group's expressions turned ugly. If there were 3 heavenly gods, they wouldn't be afraid at all. However, there were 2 supreme ancient gods. So what if there are 2 supreme ancient gods? What is there to be afraid of? Ning Tian's gaze fell on the few of them indifferently. The 2 supreme ancient gods in front of him seemed to be in the 1-star realm. If they had only undergone the ancient god tribulation once, they might still have the power to fight. Arrogant. Hearing this, the group's eyes were filled with anger. Lan Bing, Di Tian, Tai Su, you guys can handle the 3 supreme ancient gods, right? Ning Tian didn't pay any attention to them. His expression was calm as he assigned the opponents. No problem, but, Ancestral Master, are the 3 of you going to deal with 2 supreme ancient gods? Di Tian looked hesitant. Close to supreme ancient gods didn't mean they were supreme ancient gods. Don't worry. Don't underestimate me and my wife. Ning Tian lifted the corner of his mouth and looked at the 2 women. Is there a problem? More than enough. The 2 women chuckled. Their words were filled with confidence. Luo Wuqing merged with the heavenly flames again. Her long blue hair reached her waist, and the heavenly flames surrounded her. Su Yueyao had purple hair and 9 foxtails swaying. Her fox demon aura kept condensing and her aura kept increasing. The 2 women had reached the 8 stars of the heavenly god realm. Now that they used their techniques, their strength was comparable to that of a supreme ancient god. Hiss! Seeing this, Di Tian and Old Su sucked in a breath of cold air. One had to know that the 2 women's strength was the same as theirs. In just a few years, they had reached this level. Is this the benefit of staying by the ancestral master side? Di Tian sighed. Then, my wife, I'll leave that guy to you, Ning Tian said. Then, his body disappeared from the spot. The next moment, he appeared behind one of the supreme ancient gods. Then, he threw a punch that was wrapped in the law of death toward the supreme ancient god. The supreme ancient god was stunned. Then, he hurriedly dodged. He didn't expect that this guy would take the initiative to attack. Could it be his strength is far above mine? At this moment, this was the only possibility that the supreme ancient god could think of. If his strength was lower than his, why would Ning Tian take the initiative to attack him? Because he was overly cautious, the supreme ancient god chose to defend himself seriously. But it was a pity. This just so happened to fall into Ning Tian's trap. Dodge? Do you think you can dodge? Ning Tian sneered. The death aura wrapped around his fist again. Then, he casually threw a punch at the air. Hit the air? When the supreme ancient god saw Ning Tian's strange punch, he couldn't help but be stunned. Air? No, I'm hitting you. Ning Tian's lips curled up slightly as he said indifferently. He threw a punch into the void. The instant the space in front of the supreme ancient god fluctuated, a fist wrapped in black aura mysteriously appeared in front of his face. There are still 2 more chapters. I'll publish them later. I don't know when they will be published because there's a bit of a lag. However, I'll definitely publish them before 5 a.m. Even if I stay up late, I'll finish writing the remaining 2 chapters. There's no need to wait. You can read them tomorrow morning. Chapter 658. The supreme ancient god was stunned for a moment, but in the next moment, a black fist appeared in front of him. What? Boom. In an instant. Even though he dodged in time, Ning Tian's fist still landed on one of his arms. The deathly aura instantly erupted from his arm, and even the body of a supreme ancient god could not resist the invasion of the deathly aura. His arm instantly lost its vitality. Space law and death law? A look of horror flashed in the eyes of the supreme ancient god. Then, he endured the excruciating pain and transformed his spiritual energy into a sharp blade. He directly chopped off his arm, and only then did he stop the deathly aura from spreading. He did not expect that. The person in front of him. He actually mastered 2 types of laws. Laws, you have the heavenly god body. You are the patriarch of the heavenly palace. At this moment, this supreme ancient god suddenly came to his senses. What? He is the patriarch of the heavenly palace? Could it be that the demonic pagoda is with the patriarch of the heavenly palace? Or perhaps the heavenly palace has begun to take action against the power behind the dark turmoil? Hearing this, the faces of the other people in the Cloud Atlas collection of heaven and earth changed. My senior sister and the others are not like your forces. Ning Tian said indifferently, Damn it, I can't believe I met the people of the heavenly palace here. How unlucky. The supreme ancient god cursed and glared at Ning Tian. Consider yourself lucky today. Let's go. You want to leave? Did I give you permission to leave? Ning Tian appeared in front of the supreme ancient god like a ghost. After saying those indifferent words, he used all his means. Luo Wuqing and Su Yueyao also surged their spiritual energy to stop the other supreme ancient god. Now, the 2 ladies were getting more and more familiar with the heavenly fire law and death law. From this guy's words, Ning Tian came to a crucial conclusion. The demonic pagoda they were talking about should be the Buddha demonic pagoda. Judging from their behavior, the Buddha demonic pagoda should be that pagoda. In that case, all the more he could not let this group of people go. He had to eliminate future troubles. You have shocked an unnamed supreme ancient god of ancient god Yun 2. Obtained 1 energy strip card. At this moment, in his mind, the system's voice rang out. Energy deprivation card? Ning Tian raised his eyebrows and quietly put away the energy deprivation card. His gaze fell on the ancient god supreme once again. He realized that the ancient god supreme who had gone through 1-star ancient god thunder was not as powerful as he had imagined. He was a 7-star heavenly god. In addition to the few great laws, he was completely capable of dealing with a 1-star supreme ancient god. Of course, it could also be that the opponent was too weak. Death, life, heavenly flame, ice, space, time. Ning Tian murmured. 6 balls of light of different colors revolved around his body. Once again, a wisp of pitch-black deathly aura appeared in his hand, and he directly charged toward the ancient god. Be it offense or defense, he didn't give the supreme ancient god the slightest chance. If you hurt me, I'll heal you. After that, I'll continue to hit you. They would not rest until they were dead. The supreme ancient god? Seeing this scene, the corners of the supreme ancient god's mouth twitched. He was an ancient god-level existence. When had he ever been so aggrieved? However, at this moment, even if he was aggrieved, there was nothing he could do. Damn it, who could cultivate 6 laws of heaven and earth at once? Hiss, Ancestral Master is so fierce. Ancestral Master is acting like a human again. Diwuji couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air when he saw Ning Tian's powerful laws. It was already a blessing from the heavens for an ordinary person to obtain one of the laws of heaven and earth. However, the patriarch had 6 of them. Boom, boom, boom. The entire frozen space rumbled. At this moment, The supreme ancient god who was facing the two ladies broke out in a cold sweat. Not only were the two ladies extremely beautiful, but they could even crush him if they joined forces. The terrifying flames could burn him to ashes if he touched them, not to mention the sound of the flute that carried the deathly aura. Bang! Another heavy punch using the space law landed on the body of the supreme ancient god. A mouthful of blood spurted from the supreme ancient god's mouth. This can't go on. Looks like I have to use that power. The supreme ancient god roared hysterically. The lad in front of him was suppressing him with 6 laws. He couldn't fight back at all. If this continued, he would be toyed to death sooner or later. Similarly, the supreme ancient god who was facing the two ladies wasn't having a good time either. He couldn't gain any advantage at all. Then, use that power from the darkness. The two exchanged glances. Then, their auras began to surge wildly. A wisp of black aura emanated from their bodies. Their abilities began to show signs of increasing. Don't even think about it. Seeing this, how could Ning Tian allow them to increase their abilities as they wished? He decisively interrupted the release and used the energy deprivation card. Bang! In an instant, the two supreme ancient gods who were still feeling their powers increasing suddenly became like deflated balloons. Their powers were constantly being stripped away. After this power was stripped away by the energy deprivation card, it was actually absorbed by the unknown tree. This power is similar to the power in the seal. Could it be that the two are actually a type of power? Ning Tian raised his eyebrows. He couldn't help but have a bold guess in his heart. However, at this moment, the most important thing now was to deal with these guys first. Wife, concubine, let's attack together. Ning Tian looked at the two ladies, exchanged glances, and said, The two ladies nodded heavily. 3 laws of nature emerged around them. Double time stop. Double heavenly fire. Double death music. Ning Tian also summoned laws. The celestial slashing Guzheng appeared behind him and played with divine thoughts. This was simply a feast for the convergence of laws. Bang! Bang! Double death music, heavenly fire burn. At this moment, the power of double time freeze was enough to give these two supreme ancient gods a fatal opportunity. The music of death reverberated in their ears, mercilessly taking away their lives, and the existence of the heavenly fire burned all of their souls, killing, burning, and playing music. The one-stop service was done in one go. They died just like that? Those are two supreme ancient gods, Qin Wentian exclaimed. Seeing this scene, the corners of Di Tian and the Great Void ancestors' mouths twitched. They were dumbfounded. How could a supreme ancient god become so weak? You have shocked Di Tian and the others. Receive Death Eye. Death Eye. With a glance, anyone weaker than the host will be killed instantly. With the enhancement of the law of death, it can even kill someone of the same level with a glance. They are merely two supreme ancient gods. It's not like I haven't killed ancient gods before. Hearing the voice in his mind, Ning Tian said indifferently. Then, a black glint flashed across his eyes. He casually glanced at the remaining 6-star celestial gods. With just a glance, these 6-star celestial gods instantly lost their lives. What the F***CK? Seeing this scene, everyone was dumbfounded. 6-star celestial gods were killed by a glance from the patriarch? Chapter 659. Ridiculous. Simply ridiculous. The ancestral master's actions had refreshed their understanding of the strong. It turned out that eyes could really kill. Oh no, not kill. Eyes could really kill gods. You have shocked Di Tian and the others once again. Reward, powerful deodorant. Function, deodorant. In his mind, the system's voice sounded again. Deodorant. Ning Tian was stunned for a moment, and his expression became strange. According to the system's usual behavior, it would give him tools that could be used in advance. Could it be that he was going to fall into a cesspool or some other smelly place? What the F***CK? Ning Tian suddenly had a bad feeling. It's finally done. Now, no one will come to make trouble, right? Ning Tian frowned slightly and looked at the ice jade talisman in the sky. It had absorbed about 90% of the ice energy. In a few minutes, the Tianma cult would be unsealed. He. I didn't expect that two supreme ancient gods couldn't deal with you, as expected of the 10th heavenly god constitution. At this moment, another eerie laughter rang out. Again? Ning Tian frowned. These guys, are they done yet? Don't worry, I won't kill you. In the void, a middle-aged man stepped out. He had a cold smile on his face as he looked at Ning Tian. After all, the 10 heavenly gods are gathered here. There will be a fight between each other. If I kill you, I will ruin this good show. I am Ancient God Yun, Tuesday Heaven and Earth Collection Ancient God, Yun Lin. The one you just killed is a collection ancient god? Oh, Earth Collection? Ning Tian raised his eyebrows and smiled. So that's what your organization is called. Ancient God Yun 2 is the name of the force, and Heaven and Earth Collection is the 3rd generation. I wouldn't have known if you didn't tell me. Di Wuji and the others twitched their mouths. Ancestral Master, shouldn't the main point be that this guy is a Chaos Ancient God? So what if he's a Chaos Ancient God? He said he wouldn't kill me. Ning Tian looked at the Ancient God Yun 2 and the Earth-ranked Ancient God Yun Lin with a smile. You are such a nice person. The Patriarch's smile made Yun Lin speechless. He couldn't help but be stunned. Don't kill him. Shouldn't he feel humiliated by this? Even if I don't kill you, you have to give me the demonic pagoda. Yun Lin coldly snorted. Pa. However, before he could finish his sentence, a red palm print suddenly appeared on Yun Lin's face, and a crisp sound rang out at this moment. Immediately, the atmosphere became somewhat awkward. The law of space. Brat, you dare to hit this god? Yun Lin was stunned for a moment. A fierce light flashed in his eyes as he looked at the smiling Ning Tian. Brat, you're courting death. How dare you slap this god? I'll let you have a taste of humiliation. In an instant, Yun Lin appeared beside Ning Tian in a flash. He had a habit of returning an eye for an eye. Since Ning Tian had slapped him, he would let Ning Tian have a taste of his own medicine. Pa. A slap landed. Ancestral Master. At the sight of this, Di Wuji and the others' expressions changed. They were extremely worried. This was a primal chaos ancient god, not someone that the one-star supreme ancient god could compare to. Could their patriarch have been slapped to death? At the side, the two women, however, were very calm. They also had some understanding of Ning Tian's methods. Boom. There was a loud sound. A figure could be seen flying out. Did the Ancestral Master run away? Everyone looked over. No, it's not the Ancestral Master. The one who flew out is the Chaos Ancient God. Old Su widened his eyes. They saw. Yun Lin flew backwards and smashed into a wall in an extremely wretched manner. Ning Tian, on the other hand, was still smiling. He stood where he was as if nothing had happened. Yun Lin's slap hadn't harmed him at all. What the F***CK? Old Su expressed his confusion elegantly. This, he wanted to learn. The Ancestral Master was so thick-skinned. Damn it. What kind of power was that just now? Yun Lin climbed up miserably. He was a Chaos Ancient God. His slap did not even hurt a hair? I don't believe it. He looked over again. 100%. However, at this moment, Ning Tian suddenly said, Huh, Brad, what did you say? Yun Lin frowned. He had a bad premonition. 100%. Naturally, I'm going to use my ultimate move. The corners of Ning Tian's mouth curled up. Then, he looked at the ice jade talisman shining with a cold light in the sky. He took a deep breath and shouted, Ling, save your master. If you can't beat them, the best solution is to let those who could defeat him fight. Yun Lin was stunned. However, his expression changed in the next moment. They saw, in the sky, the frost jade talisman flickered with a cold light. An illusory figure condensed from cold energy appeared, and an extremely cold voice sounded. A mere chaos ancient god dares to hurt my master? Are you worthy? There are still 3 more updates. I'm going to sleep first. You can't stay up all night. Chapter 660. Ling's cold voice rang out. It was as though the surrounding temperature had suddenly dropped. Yunlin did not even have time to react before he was frozen on the spot. His expression instantly changed. Say, Sovereign Ancient God, Southern Frost Starseas, Ice God. Yunlin's lips trembled. In front of an existence of this level, so what if he was a Chaos Ancient God? He would still not be able to withstand a single move. The gap between the three ancient gods was like an insurmountable gap. The gap was too big. Hiss, Sovereign Ancient God? At the side, Tion and the other's eyes almost popped out. The girl in front of them was obviously not from the Heavenly Palace. This meant that the Heavenly Palace was not the only one behind the Ancestral Master. There were other powerful existences. That meant, behind the Ancestral Master, there were at least 10 supreme ancient gods. F*CK, F*CK, 10 supreme ancient gods. I have never seen so many ancient gods in my life. The corner of Tion's mouth twitched. The great void old ancestor sucked in a cold breath. Fortunately, Old Su from the Virtual God Palace was more powerful and had hooked up with the Ancestral Master. Otherwise, if they had offended her, they would have been in deep trouble. What he did not know was that Old Su had already offended her from the start. It's actually Lord Ice God. He really knows Lord Ice God. He is Lord Ice God's master. At the side, Lan Bing's pretty face was filled with shock. She looked at Ning Tian with a trace of shock in her eyes. You have shocked Lan Bing. You have shocked Tion and the others. In his mind, the system's voice rang out. Obtained. Supreme Ancient God's Comprehension. This item will be automatically used when the host attempts to break through to the Supreme Ancient God level. It will be used to analyze the Ancient God Lightning, allowing the host to pass through several bolts of Ancient God Lightning in one go. Supreme Ancient God's Comprehension? Ning Tian raised his eyebrows slightly. At this moment, the two girls landed beside him. He looked at Ling's ice god's shadow in the sky, and the corner of his mouth curled up slightly. Everything was under his control. When the Ice Jade charm absorbed 90% of the surrounding ice energy, he sensed a familiar aura from the Ice Jade charm. According to his usual style of doing things, he would definitely have a backup plan. Ling was his disciple, so she would naturally do the same. He might as well stall for time until the Frost Jade talisman absorbed all the frozen energy, and the facts proved that he was right. Everything was under the Patriarch's control. If he couldn't beat them, then he would switch to someone who could. You, our ancient god Yun Tu, did not provoke you, Yunlin said subconsciously. However, he soon thought of something and his voice stopped abruptly. It seems like their ancient god Yun Tu had really offended the ice god. Tianbing is in your ancient god cloud map. She should be an ancient god of the G generation, right? In the sky, all the ice energy condensed together, and the frost divine shadow of the spirit on the Frost Jade talisman shot out. This was not Ling's true body, but only one of her incarnations. But even if it was just an incarnation, it was not someone that a primal chaos ancient god who had only experienced ancient god thunder once could provoke. Let's talk nicely. There's no need to fight, Yunlin hurriedly said. No need to fight? Then why did you attack my master just now? Ling said indifferently. The frost divine shadow that was formed exploded with a powerful force, instantly turning into countless cold rays that pressed down on Yunlin. F*CK. That brat was the one who attacked me first. Puff. Before Yunlin could finish his words, the cold rays landed on his body. Even if he used all his strength to struggle out of the ice, Ling's aura had completely locked him in place, making him unable to move at all. So what? Ling said faintly. F*CK. That's not reasonable at all. Yunlin cursed loudly. Look, are you satisfied with this heaven connecting die that I found for you? You're such a nice person. Since you can't bear to kill me, I'll kill you with tears in my eyes. Ning Tian looked at Yunlin with a smile, his face full of kindness. Brat, you only know how to hide behind a woman. What kind of ability are you? Yunlin's body began to freeze. A pair of resentful eyes fell on Ning Tian as he gritted his teeth. What you said makes sense. I hate those guys who only know how to stand behind women. Ning Tian stroked his chin, his expression very serious. His expression was full of disgust. Yunlin was stunned. This brat. What kind of trick is he up to now? I wonder if you've heard of this saying. After saying that, Ning Tian lifted his handsome face and smiled brightly at Yunlin. In the end, I still ended up living in a way that I hate. Yunlin was stunned for a moment. He instantly reacted and realized that he had been played by this brat again. What was wrong with this person? Why was he so shameless? Furthermore, his level of shamelessness was far beyond anyone he had ever met. Was this the legendary saying that a shameless person was invincible in the world? Brat, F*CKU. Puff. However, before he could finish his sentence, Spirit slapped him back into his mouth. Who allowed you to insult my master? Ling looked at him indifferently. Ice God, don't be too. Ugh. This time, before Yunlin could finish his words, Ning Tian's fist with death aura came flying over again. Who allowed you to scold my disciple? Brat, King, bang. Who allowed you to scold my master? Ice God, you. Boom. Who allowed you to scold my disciple? You. Both of you. Bang. Bang. Seeing Yunlin being repeatedly rubbed by the master and disciple, Luo Wuqing and Su Yueyao could not help but laugh. One Ning Tian was already annoying enough. Now, there was another true disciple, Ling. This Yunlin was really pitiful. Tisk, this is really pitiful. Seeing this scene, Di Wuji, Old Su, and the others could not help but shake their heads. This Yunlin was probably going to be angered to death by these two. Enough. Yunlin roared as the primal chaos aura flowed out. Just as it was about to explode, it was slapped back to its original form by Spirit. I. Puff. Yunlin was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. He had the strength of a chaos ancient god but was suppressed by an even stronger ancient god. He was even humiliated. He was furious. Damn it. Now, I have to stall for time. As long as the Ice Divine Shadow's energy is depleted, I will have a chance to live. Yunlin's face was gloomy. His pair of sinister eyes landed on Ling. He could naturally see that Ling was just a divine shadow formed by energy. Once the divine shadow's energy was depleted, he still had a chance. This brat is the king of torture. This brat. I have seen through him. Yunlin's lips curled into a self-righteous smile. He looked at Ning Tian and spoke slowly. Chapter 661. Kid, you can kill me, but you can't humiliate me. Kill me if you can. His voice died down. Yunlin's lips curled up. If this kid was a torturer, he would definitely say, "You want to die? Did I allow you to die?" If that was the case, there was still a chance. Okay. However, Ning Tian just looked at him with a smile and said one word. Yunlin was stunned. He was completely dumbfounded. Are you King kidding me? I had so many requests just now, but you didn't fulfill any of them. You even wanted to torture me. But now, when I mention this request, King agree to it. Why don't you play by the rules? I know you're a man. Ling, kill him. Ning Tian looked at Ling's ice divine shadow with a smile and ordered. Okay. Ling nodded and looked over. CK. My life is over. Puff. Yunlin, who was already seriously injured, spat out a mouthful of blood and died on the spot. Everyone, Yunlin died before the fight even started? Could this be, you don't have to kill me personally? I'll kill myself for you to see? Seeing this scene, Old Su took out a brand new notebook and plucked a handful of lion fur from the flame-sealing Lion King to turn it into a pin. He wrote a few words on the notebook. Ancestral Master's glorious battle record, angering a chaos ancient god to death. Ling, destroy his soul too. I'm afraid the news will spread. On the other hand, for safety's sake, Ning Tian didn't want to make any mistakes. She instructed Ling, okay? Ling nodded. Then, she raised her hand and gently slapped. Yunlin's body instantly turned into nothingness. Even his soul couldn't escape the power of the slap. There should be no problem now. A glint flashed in Ning Tian's eyes as he murmured. As long as the ancient god Yun Tu didn't know that the Buddha Demon Tower was with him, there should be no problem.
Master.
Next, it's time to unseal the Tianma cult. The spirit formed by the ice divine shadow whispered to Ning Tian. Then, she looked down at the gradually melting ice. She raised her hand slightly and whispered, "Ice melt." Boom, boom. When this burst of power burst out, Yi Zichen was shocked. The entire frozen Tianma cult began to tremble violently, and all the buildings began to collapse at this time. Although Ling's ice could preserve the lives of these people in the long river of time and make them fall into a deep sleep, it was still too late. However, these buildings had all been corroded by the chill. Now that the ice was gone, the building instantly became fragile. Di Tian, Tai Su, the old emperor, Old Su, and Lan Bing, move out and move everyone sealed in ice away. Don't let them get smashed. Seeing this, Ning Tian looked at Old Su and the others, letting them play their role as tools. It wasn't easy for him to break free from the ice. If he was smashed to death, it would be a huge loss. Yes, Patriarch. Old Su and the others nodded and began to move. Soon, under the movement of the crowd, all the frozen people of the Tianma cult were placed in an open space. The buildings with a long history began to slowly collapse. Seeing this scene, Ning Tian couldn't help but sigh. Patriarch, are you feeling sorry for these things? After all, these buildings have a long history. They can be considered as memories. It's a pity to destroy them like this, Di Tian couldn't help but say when he saw Ning Tian sigh. Yes, these are all antiques. They could be sold for a lot of money. It's indeed a pity to destroy them like this. Ning Tian nodded. Di Tian, Master, the Tianma cult's ice has ended. Now, we just need to wait for them to wake up, Ling said slowly to Ning Tian as she looked at him. Meanwhile, her body was also slowly dissipating. She was an illusory figure condensed from ice energy. Naturally, she would dissipate when her energy was exhausted.
Yes.
Ning Tian nodded slightly and smiled. He looked up at the ice figure that was about to dissipate and said, "Girl, this time, it's all thanks to you. It's okay. I just hope that Master will do what he said." Ling blushed slightly and shook her head. Then, she slowly dissipated. Do what he said? Ning Tian was stunned for a moment. He didn't know how to react. Hee, I'm afraid it's not like what you said before. You're going to undo the seal for Ling personally. At the side, Su Yueyao looked at him with a teasing gaze. Ahem. Hearing this, Ning Tian's face darkened. He coughed dryly and quickly changed the topic. He looked at the frozen Tianma cult square. There was a several meters tall stone statue of a young man in black. If he wasn't wrong, it should be him. He hesitated for a moment. In the end, he waved his hand and used the law of space to put the stone statue of himself into his storage ring. After everything was done, the buildings of the Tianma cult in the divine domain had all collapsed. The surrounding cold air spread, but fortunately, no one was injured. At this moment, all the members of the Tianma cult had their eyes tightly closed. There was still a trace of cold air in their bodies. According to Ling, after the ice was removed and the Tianma cult members naturally woke up, everything would be fine.
Next.
Let's wait, Ning Tian murmured. His gaze fell on the large group of people. Yes, everyone nodded. A few minutes later, the members of the Tianma cult seemed to have finally awakened from the ice. The aura on their bodies began to gradually warm up. There was a trace of movement. It was as if their power had begun to awaken at this moment. The people who had been sleeping in the ice finally showed signs of waking up. They're waking up. What a powerful force. They're awake, but not completely. Even so, this force can't be underestimated. Among the thousands of people, there are hundreds of ancestral gods and dozens of heavenly gods. This is simply a huge force. Why is this force sealed in ice? Seeing this scene, Dtion and the Great Void Old Ancestor couldn't help but gasp. Even in the divine domain, this force was a force that couldn't be underestimated. They were already very strong. If a supreme expert came to lead them, they would probably be even stronger. At this moment, it seemed that someone had woken up. Following that, more and more members of the cult woke up. Where is this? Among them, a middle-aged and fat man covered his head. The aura on his body was extremely powerful. He was probably already at the peak of the heavenly god realm. He looked around. A trace of confusion flashed in his eyes. Ice god, ancestral master, Uncle Chin. His words seemed to be describing the scene before the ice seal. Fatty Chin, long time no see. At this moment, a hearty laugh sounded behind him. He was stunned for a moment. He turned around abruptly. A familiar face appeared in front of him. His pupils instantly shrank. Ancestral Master? Elder of the Tianma cult, Fatty Chin, greets the Ancestral Master. I'm tired from an all-nighter. I'll make up for it tomorrow. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.